Hello, and welcome to Dwarven Forge Live. This is On the Anvil, episode 22.
Yeah,
Yes. And we have audio?
we do. We have audio.
Hey, we're two.
There were people making a over/under on whether or not we're gonna have audio at the start of this.
What are the chances? Well, welcome. This is a show where we take you behind the scenes at Dwarven Forge and show you what we're up to, what's going on in the future, what happened in the past. I don't know. We talk about everything that's happening, and we just hang out for a couple hours. And except tonight, we're not even gonna have a beer. I don't have.
We have nothing.
I have whiteboard cleaner to drink and no dinner. We have this tradition that every time we have a stream, we order food, and it never arrives until after we're streaming. So then you just don't eat.
Usually, especially during Wildlands, it always happened because it'd be like, oh, we gotta go live at 7. Let's order food at 6:30. But we've been making an effort to order our food at like 5:15, 5:30.
Mace rolled in at 5 o'clock. She's like, ordering food now so that you don't starve to death. What can you do?
It's been 2 hours and they've ghosted us.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
So I'm Nate. This is Chris. Let's go to our fancy split screen.
Yeah. So we've got something new today.
What do we have?
Whoa! We've actually we got some more webcams in. So we might want to mute the laptop. Did you want to trying to?
I was checking on the pledge manager. Yeah, it's exciting.
All right. So what's planned for Kickstarter 8?
Who's asking this? They're going too far.
Joe Pacelli.
Hey, Joe Pacelli. He's a long time. He's been here. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, like, actually just stay tuned and.
Yeah, we might talk about that. Yeah. So tonight we're gonna talk about the pledge manager, which just launched. And we'll take your questions, and we may, if we've got time left, we may talk a little bit about the future. What's the future? But first, news.
Yeah.
Whoa! News.
We just abuse that we have a video production team.
Yeah. Except we need more. We need more than
we should abuse them more.
We should have random titles in play. So what's in the news, Chris?
Well, I believe officially all of Hellscape and Plaguestone have been shipped by this point.
Officially. So if you didn't get except for that guy that just emailed you yesterday, it's like, oh, I totally forgot that I didn't fill out my Plaguestone order.
Right. There was one guy. There was a discussion about how a lot of people hadn't finalized their Plaguestone stuff.
We had about 120 people that didn't come back and pay the balance of the order, so we didn't ship their stuff. Except for this guy who just figured it out the other day. Yeah, so we'll keep talking about it. So if you pre-ordered Plaguestone, finish up your pre-order, send us your thing so we can ship your sets, because everybody else has been shipped, and all of Encounter 3s have been shipped. I got mine. Built a bunch of stuff for my kids.
I haven't gotten one. I didn't order one, but I haven't gotten one.
Well, that might be why you didn't get one.
Yeah.
And then we're going to get that stuff up on the web store at some point soon. And speaking of the web store, what's our next news item? That was a softball. Come on.
We got a big little restock coming next week on Wednesday. Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of different sets, but a little bit of them, a little bit of a lot.
So we have a whole bunch of I don't know, it's a whole smattering of stuff, right? So we ordered a big restock of stuff, but then here's where it gets crazy. Jay got crazy, and he went through, and he's clearing out a little bit of our reserve. Did our food come?
The food just got here.
He was in the hall. He got into the building. He was in the hallway.
Just wandering around.
Why didn't he call us?
You want to call him inside. But anyway, sorry.
The call is coming from inside the
Yeah.
All right.
So you went through and basically entered the entire inventory and reduced the stock, like things that we had some reserve on that could move. He was like, so there's between 3 and 5 sets of now available of like 200 sets.
That's what it is.
It's
basically
insane.
It's basically going into our reserves. So like all the stuff that we've been planning on restocking that you could see like on the storefront or on the website is what I meant. That stuff's going up.
And that's a big list.
It's a sizable list. But then there's going to be a little bit of the reserves of like everything else we had. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that wasn't listed is going to be going.
It's going to be all over the place. But there's only like 3 to 5 sets of them. So it's like it's going to be maybe a mad dash. And I don't know if we'll have to get a list up maybe or I don't know.
Well, I guess what's nice about that is for people who may have like a particular if there's like a really weird set that you've wanted for a while but that never gets restocked because it wasn't particularly popular, this might be the time it goes up. Yeah.
So that's gonna be next Wednesday I don't know. We haven't set a time yet, but I'm gonna guess like noon.
We usually do around noon. Yeah, we'll make an official announcement once we have the time locked in.
So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And we're gonna. Here's a question actually for the we need a name for the audience, like the doofers or whatever. So
we could always go with the Dwarven Army. There's the doofers.
No, this is like it's specific, just the Twitch.
Specifically
like,
for the Twitch.
Yeah. The twitchy dwarves. I don't know. So here's a question for the twitchy dwarves. What if we're trying to make our restocks like we're trying to make we have restocks 4, 6, 8 times a year or something. We're trying to make them into a thing. Like, is there any way we could better serve you with the restocks, right?
Yeah.
Maybe having a specific time, having inventory in advance. Like, I don't know if anything that we can do to make it a better experience, because it's usually kind of like a mad dash to get the things you want or whatever before they're sold out.
Doofers has been extremely polarizing.
Yeah. And I think that came from Rabbit Burner, right?
Maybe. Well, he started calling everybody on Discord the Disco Doofers.
That's amazing.
What were we just talking about? Right. So yeah, we're trying to kind of revamp
let us know how
our
we can make
infrastructure and communication around restocks so that we can be more transparent about it. And we're really wanting to make the store and the restocking and all that stuff. We want to make it a lot more efficient. So anything that could be helpful. But people are saying a lot of pre-orders immediately, which I think is huge. I think pre-orders are honestly a good thing to do just in general. I think it's better for us and them, honestly.
If people don't mind waiting. I guess, Jay feels emotionally... He feels bad about holding people's money for a long period of time.
I
right?
get that.
And then, and then there's also the unpredictability of when the things arrive and all the stuff. And so I don't know. But yeah, it might not be crazy to do.
Jay King says in caps, "You have an audience that is based around waiting."
Yeah,
I guess
because they're already waiting for the Kickstarter.
Can we get them to think about it not as holding people's money, but as people getting a guarantee just with a longer shipping time?
Yeah, it's
I guess it's the main.
You know what? It's the opposite of Amazon, right? Amazon, you click the thing and you get it like 24 to 48 hours. You get it. This is you click the thing and then like 24 to 48 weeks later you get it. It's like
what is the minimum number when Dwarven Forge would submit pre-orders? Yeah, that's the whole thing. Because that's the thing is everybody's seeming to say like they don't mind the pre-orders waiting at all. Because they're like it's no different than the Kickstarter. I guess that's the thing is like ultimately I guess when it comes to this product, yeah, like it's not people getting like little things that they need like that week or whatever. It's people having plans for campaigns and all that.
That's true.
Like our audience is people who tend to plan things out. So I think waiting for something isn't that big of a deal. If it's a guarantee, they'll get what they need.
There's two types of the people who plan or the people who just buy everything.
The people who just buy everything will still be perfectly fine.
True.
I don't think they'll be put off by pre-orders.
So we get it. So that's not it's not crazy. That's a good thing when on our big our summit on the 9th and 10th. Remind me about pre-orders.
When we started doing pre-orders, that was people were like unanimously into it. I think if we expand our
But what about
system,
those poor 120 people that pre-ordered Plaguestone and they gave us $25 and they never came back? I guess it's free money.
That's.
But then how long do we have to hold those sets for them?
That's a really. We'll probably need to actually set. We do need to figure out what to do about that.
Right. Yeah. So let's say you have a pre-order and 400 people order the thing, and then 50 of them don't show up. How long do you have to hold that set? Especially if it's a set that a lot of people that want, and then a thing, and so.
Is it
we'll figure it out. We can crack that.
Yeah.
If we can figure out a Kickstarter, we can figure out a pre-order.
That baseball's a little too inside.
So what other news do we have? What news from the north?
News from the north. Oh, around this?
No, just news. We have it.
Oh,
Dwarven Forge. This is our
around Dwarven Forge.
Yeah.
We did this. So we've been doing this thing called Wildlands.
I've heard of this.
Yeah, and we. That right there, that's not. Well, it's partially Wildlands.
There's trees.
Everybody's gonna wonder how come they didn't get a tower in their Wildlands. There are trees in there. That is true. It's a big compatibility build. The pledge manager for that went up today.
Woo!
And we appreciate everybody who has gotten their invites so far. We appreciate the patience for the people who haven't.
We're gonna talk about it. So we got to talk about the other news before we talk about the
Sure. You have the news list, so I don't entirely know what you're reading.
All right, build of the month. So here's what we're gonna do. Yeah. I gave you the list before we went, so you have it.
You wrote it down over there. I thought I was gonna be getting it.
I gave it to you vocally. I said,
you were writing it. All right.
See, Mace, I say, hey, here's a list, and it like she's got like a computer cyborg brain, and it just turns into paper.
I think she's been like writing that stuff down on here.
Yeah, you're
I've got a list on here, but it's not of news.
No. So we got for the build of the month. So October's the build of the month is not going to happen. Instead we had a pledge manager, but and people who watch the building of the build of the month, we're going to use that build of the month for November's build of the month, but that's going to come out really soon, but really soon in November, not like really soon. We're going to shoot it first thing next week, by first thing Wednesday, and we'll have it out hopefully the first week in November. But then, here's where it gets crazy. We're going to have a second build of the month in November, which kind of defeats the name, but whatever. It'll be, the goal is we will release the second build of the month on Black Friday, and we'll have a bundle with that, and then that bundle will go through December, whatever, because we're doing these bundles, right? So it'll be the build with a gift card and a thing, and you can get it. So
build of the fortnight.
Yeah, build of the 10-day. So we have so early November the Lava, the Hellscape one will go up, because also we need to get those sets into the store, because we didn't have the core set. So we'll get those up early November, and the second one in like right on Black Friday. And then also we're trying to get some other stuff up in the store on Black Friday also. It should be adventuresome. We'll see. And then the next one will go in January. And off we go. Just excited. Other news. Lost Odyssey.
Yeah.
So we're doing a thing for with Lost Odyssey. It's 4 wizards. I don't know. Are we allowed to say? I think they've announced it. It's gonna be a secret. You know? Do you think anybody from Wizards is watching?
I can look real quick. I mean, nobody from Wizards is watching this.
If you work for Wizards of the Coast, just put something in chat right now and just say we're cool.
Yeah,
we signed an NDA. Wait, no, that means we're not supposed to talk. Well,
we did sign an NDA?
No, not for this. No.
Okay.
I mean, Wizards NDA. Anyway, we're doing it. Matt Lillard is gonna do a live game. His first live stream DM like on camera, and it's got a great cast. It's a Halloween. Spooky Halloween game. He's got some stuff. We got some fun stuff planned, and it's gonna be kind of wild. So we're doing a build. Toby and I put something together today, tweaking it out, and then Chris is gonna be in Matt Lillard's hands. Did you ever think that was gonna be like a thing it's gonna be in your life? You were gonna be Matt Lillard's hands.
If you were asking me if I was going to work not once but twice at least with somebody who was in one of my favorite movies as a child, no.
But did you think you'd be his hands? Like that's so he's.
I wouldn't even dare to dream that. No.
His paws. Well, I guess Shaggy doesn't have paws, but so the build is going to be here. Lillard is going to be in LA. Everybody else is going to be remote. It's going to be on a Vorpal board, and so he's going to like have them, move them around, and Chris will be his mage hand, and we'll move the. Move the minis, move the camera, be like the dynamic, the secret, the invisible DM, the invisible stalker. It's gonna be really cool, and it's being pre-recorded.
Yeah, it's being pre-recorded too, so it's gonna be. We might try some. I don't know. It's been fun to experiment with live games. We've been trying like a lot of new stuff and kind of pushing back. We were forced to. I mean, is the thing. Like we wanted to do.
Broke the yeah.
Well, we wanted to do. Yeah, I mean, so it's been a long string of things. Is that we wanted to do live games, but then right as we got into the place where we could do live games, we had to get quarantined.
Turns out the world caught on fire.
So then we decided to take this program that initially wasn't meant for live streaming games, but we thought it could be, and we've been pushing them constantly, and it's developed into like an incredible app.
Dude, they're amazing. Like, and if anybody is looking for a platform for streaming, Vorpal board, I can't recommend it enough.
They're rapidly improving. Like amazing. Every week,
their Kickstarter just shipped. If you back their Kickstarter. And I think it's open now for pre-orders, or maybe not. I don't know, but
I'm not entirely sure what the selling model is, but they just got out of beta. Basically, they just officially launched.
It's Vorpal board's awesome.
Yeah,
can't say enough good things about it. So we're gonna run it again, and then there could be more games in the future from it. Whatever.
Yeah, now that the pledge manager's out, there's a lot we can.
Yes.
We can turn our mind towards developing all these things.
So 2 other pieces of news, and then we'll talk to the pledge manager.
Perfect.
One, couple Kickstarters still going for some of our friends. So, Adventurers and Adversaries Wave 4. So that's Drew from Eldritch Foundry and I'm forgetting his name, the sculptor.
I backed that. It's got a couple days left,
his
right?
Name? Oh, well, anyway, they're great folks. This is their 4th round of these modular minis. They've got Minotaur and Aarakocra and Tabaxi, and I don't know. So the idea is it's like the mini comes in a sprue with like 4 different right arms, 4 different left arms, 2 different heads. About it, and you can mix and match and go together and make a thing. You can even put magnets if you want to get crazy. They're kind of neat.
I just got my Wave 3 stuff from them last week. I haven't assembled any of it yet, but I've got all the tins.
Dude, the tins, that's just the tin with the foam so you can like transport
it's a lot of space. Yeah. It's super, like, it protects it all, which is nice.
It's way too big for what it is, but you can put more minis in there.
My cat keeps knocking the tins over, which is kind of annoying, but...
That's what cats do.
Yeah. And
then also, Justice Armand, with a couple of his buddies, MT Black, and I can't remember who else is. I kind of figured who else is on the list. But they have their game system, Nazi Dracula Must Die, is live. They're almost 50% funded. They got another week to go. So go check it out. It's weird science, alternate future. You can, I don't know, you can be like a disciple of Merlin, and you can be a combat pilot. You can be... The best is the barbarian. So it's a 5e skin, right? The barbarian has the path of the Highlander, so you can be a Highlander for the movie. You'd be like the community one. It's be the Kurgan. I don't know, but it's go check it out because they're really good folks and they've got a good model and they're about halfway funded. They have a week to go. All right, last piece of news: sample builds and field guide are live. They were down for a bunch of the day. We had a whole bunch. Today was a day. It was a week. Crammed into a day. A lot happened trying to get this pledge manager up and running.
Yeah, which I want to thank those of you that alerted us to inconsistencies and stuff like that, so we could pass those on and get those all fixed.
Because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But we had a bunch of stuff fall apart with the wheels came off the website a little bit as we were putting all this other stuff up because we had shifting the add-ons into a grid and there's some things missing and the sample builds went down for a bit. And it was right after we sent the link out and everybody's like, man, these things are the best, and other people go to click the link and then it's like password protected and it's a whole thing. But now they're up.
Yeah.
Sample builds are back up. Field guide, updated field guide is up. Add-ons are up. Lots of stuff is up, and anything that's not, we're fixing and we'll get it cooking.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that was all for and we got a couple more things we're trying to do in the immediate future. For the add-ons, I don't know if you guys saw the new add-ons set up where it's a grid so it's easier to browse. We're going to try and add forest, mountain, and swamp categories in there, so then you can sort just by biome, see if it'll work. I don't know. It requires some programming, but
yeah, people have been pretty happy with the new add-on page, which has been nice.
Well, like I said, we set the bar. I said it offline too. We set the bar to 0. Like it was such a sprawl.
All we did was pick it up off the ground.
Yeah. There you go, kid. Rub some dirt on that and get that back in there.
You're welcome.
Boom. So I think that's all the news that's fit to print.
Excellent.
Right. So now we need to go to our main segment.
We don't have a thing for that.
Main segment. Pledge Manager. It launched. And as of this very moment, we have, how many? 579 invites have gone out. And there's still 2,782 yet to go. But
we're like not even a sixth of the way through it. Well, we're about a sixth. Yeah,
but it's moving. It's we had a couple of we were scrambling this morning, right? Like trying because I don't know if you realize like the logistics of having 244 sets and all this stuff and it has to be proofed and all the graphics and all the things and then Chris texted me last night at like midnight is like, hey, the terrain trays, we forgot to fix the terrain trays. Yeah, that was my like 6 a.m. I was like, somebody in the Discord,
they'd pointed out like during the Kickstarter that the way that we had the B sides of the river trays didn't make sense. We were supposed to swap them, and then like during the Kickstarter we completely forgot. And
it's a great note. Yeah. So basically it was the straight and the river mouth were on the same one, and the curve and the open were on the opposite, but generally the straight is going to feed the river mouth, so you'd want that to be in the other. So we flipped the B sides, which is something we have to put in an update too. So the B side of the straight is now just the open mountain lake, and the B side of the curve is the river mouth, so you can do a straight going to the curve.
Yeah,
it's a good fix. But it's something that ripples in because it's in Titan's Tooth Glade, and it's in Wyverstone Peak, and it's in 3 packs, and they have to be grids, and they have to be proofed, and then the name of the gridless one said grid, and the thing, and so it's like, anyway, so we're getting all this stuff. Everybody's like scrambling around. They're proofing. They're scrabbing. They're getting stuff. Eric's trying to get the other website up. Johanna's like frantically trying. We get all this stuff going, and it's like, all right, we're gonna get the first things out at noon. I'm like, all right, are we ready to push it to production because it's on the staging thing. It has to go to like the live site, and then the invites get pushed out. I'm like, oh, great, and everything. And she's like, Johanna's like, well, other than this one graphic, we're still waiting for. We have one other minor hurdle. I'm like, what's that? She's like, Adam is asleep. I was like, so Adam is pledge manager, right? He's the guy. He started kick track and pledge manager, and that's his thing. So he was up till like 5 a.m. prepping those last bits or whatever, and then it was like just like out. So I'm like, wait. So everyone got all this stuff ready, and like the one guy that can turn the switch to on is asleep.
So that's actually the answer to the stream title. Who manages the pledge manager is
Adam.
Adam.
Yeah,
Adam manages.
So, but Adam woke up shortly after that and put it into production, and then we could start sending invites out and whatever. So we're a little behind where we'd like to be, but I don't know. By the end of tonight, hopefully all these invites will be out.
Yeah. Worst case scenario, if you don't have it by like tomorrow evening.
End of day tomorrow.
Yeah, end of day
give us
tomorrow.
till midnight tomorrow. We're gonna send a what are they called? Update. When we have everything out. We'll send you we'll send out an update because I'm sure the customer service emails have already started flooding in. Say, where's my invite?
We do have a couple questions of things that we should clear up and make sure we're
what are they?
very firm on. The new sculpts, are they going into the Untamed? So like the double arch, the Myrmidon?
No.
They're not?
No.
It's just stuff that was in the Kickstarter.
Yes.
Okay.
I believe we were very upfront about it from the beginning. Is like Untamed was going to include everything that we had planned.
I think there was just
but
like a little bit.
If there were a
confusion.
couple of crazy bits, literally stuff that we added in the last 10 minutes, I was not going to make it in there. Anything we added in the pledge manager wasn't going to make it in there. So there are
outside of the stairs, I guess. So that's because
there's five sculpts that are not in the Untamed. So there's the Fire Elemental Myrmidon. He's in the other room, which is in his own pack, easy to get. The Double Arcane Arch. This guy, which is in the Arches, the All Arches pack, or the Ruins Mega Pack, whatever. It's relatively easy to get. Plus, you get some other arches. It's $50 painted buy or something. And the 3 branch extensions, which are once again also in one pack. So it's the trunk extensions, the large, the small, and the dead branch. So all of those, it's 3 packs to get all of those. Plus, if you want to get the resin, those are 2 separate packs also. So it's 5 packs for the completionist, but it shouldn't be too hard to track all that stuff down.
Yeah.
But the Untamed has everything that was initially planned, and it's pretty ridiculous. And it got the LED basilisk. Did you see the basilisk in that update? Like,
oh yeah.
Wait, where? Oh,
is it here?
Hamster has it.
Oh.
We need to show that thing. It's like glowy, like
Man, that's he killed it with the basilisks. Both of them.
I can't wait to fight that thing.
To use it somewhere.
Yeah.
I wish we had it in time for the Wildlands games, but it is what it is.
Yep. Yeah. What other questions? Also the Wildlands Untamed doesn't come with all the surface layer. Like if you want the mountain lake water texture matte.
Yeah.
Or I don't know. It has no battle boards. And so there's a bunch of if you want a bunch of the flat surface layer stuff, you have to get that separately.
Yeah, we got a couple. So for a lot of the newer people, where this is like your first pledge manager and stuff.
Woo!
Because we do a lot. We've had a couple questions about payment methods. First off, you can use multiple payment methods.
You have to close. You basically complete your order with the payment, and then reopen your order and put in more stuff and pay with a different payment method.
And then as far as if you can use PayPal, is that a customer service thing?
We have to do it manually. But yes, we can take PayPal. We take kidney donations. Each kidney is worth 1 Wildlands Untamed unpainted, but it's how pair gets you painted. I don't know, but we take a variety of we will generally work with you if you have a crazy payment method that's legal.
Does it have the credit of what we originally pledged? I assume that was charged. Yeah.
Yes.
So what you pledged in the Kickstarter, when you sign into the Pledge Manager, everything that you put into the Kickstarter should show up as credit in the Pledge Manager.
Your pledge level is already set in there, and your pledge amount is there, just waiting as credit, waiting to be spent.
Yeah. So basically, the only reason you'd have to put extra money into the Pledge Manager is if you decide you want to get more stuff other than what you pledged for in the Kickstarter.
Or if you didn't pay for shipping or taxes, you have to pay for that there too. It's what's crazy is it's just like you run it. Let's say you run a $4 million Kickstarter. Know anybody that's done that? All right. So
I can ask around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you get from Kickstarter is that person's email address and their pledge level. Like, it's insane. You don't have any other information. You don't have their real name. You don't have their shipping information. You don't have any, like, you have, like, that's it.
Yeah.
I'm
thinking about when I ran one, and yeah, like, you really get
bonkers. All you get is you get their Kickstarter name also. So, you're like Dragon Lover 58, their email address, and their pledge level, and their total money. It's like, yeah, it's crazy. But anyway, so that's why we have Pledge Manager. So we can get all that. We can find out who you really are, Dragon Lover 58.
Yeah.
And we know where to send your stuff, and we know what you want.
Oh, the person who asked about PayPal was bathing their kids. Yeah.
Bathing their kids?
Yeah. So do you use PayPal? Email customer service.
How do you get them to take a bath? Because it is like, it's torture in our house. Like
you got to try to make it fun, I guess. I don't know.
Feral children.
Yeah. Well, you had that photo today of him like pulling himself up on the door jamb or whatever it was.
Naked.
Yeah.
My kids don't like to wear clothes. Yeah.
Transfer the funds to a Visa?
I used to play. I used to use Caverns when when Caverns was shipping. I was using Caverns as bath toys for Grayson when he was like 1.
That's fair. They are water resistant.
Yeah.
Throw some Dwarven Forge into the bathtub with them.
Yeah. No, I did.
That's
and a lot of bathtubs are it's metallic, so you can actually anchor magnet to the side of the bathtub, which is like.
We've had some questions about the resin.
Bathing your children in Dwarvenite. Okay.
Yes.
What about the resin? Do tell.
People have been wondering about. So do we have to get the resin now? It's not going to be in the stores later. Like, what's the plan regarding that? Should we just say?
Isn't it, Chris?
Should we just say? No. Somebody was asking that. Somebody was generally asking that earlier, and I was like, "This is convenient because we were planning on talking about this."
So, great idea.
Yeah.
So here's the deal with the resin. So it's right down to the wire, right? So we got Eli's sculpt. Is finished. Michelle is still finishing hers, sculpting as fast as the wind, but we don't have castings and we don't have painting of them, right? So, they're in their Pledge Manager. And you can see like the raw masters or master in progress, but you can't even see the painted thing. So we were thinking about it, and it's hard. Some people aren't going to be able to really get it or won't fully understand them, and we can't show them a situation.
There's still like some uncertainty. Like you can't see it in a build. Yeah. Like so you don't have all the info you need to know exactly if you want this yet.
So here's what we're thinking of doing. Well, first of all, one, they're special edition, not limited edition. We're gonna have them. We're thinking of starting a whole. Would people be interested in a line of special edition, like cool one-off like art sculpts, right? Like bigger, more intricate, weird, specific things that like we wouldn't necessarily be able to do in Dwarvenite. That would be a special edition resin line. So that's question 1. So we're thinking of using this as the start of that. So we're going to put these in the web store next year. I don't know how many we're going to make, right? We may only have 50 in the web store. We may end up doing a second printing and do another 500. We may have, I don't know. I don't know what it would be.
It probably depends on how much it sells and like how much demand we think there is for it. Yeah.
And we'll have to raise the price in the web store, and that might be prohibitive and whatever, but we'll see. But so the idea is that they're going to be an potentially evergreen thing. We could always reprint if we want to. They'll be in the web store. So you can have a chance to buy them in the web store later. But what we're thinking, no guarantees yet, right? So here's a general caveat, general blanket of all things on the Anvil. Things change, right? Like that's one of the things about this, like we're showing you the process. We're talking about things like things change and evolve. Like if you saw the waterfall, how many iterations of the waterfall?
We genuinely showed like 5 or 6 different versions of the waterfall on stream while we figured out what it would be.
I'm like, this is the one. All right, now this is the one. Now this is the one. So anyway, so everything is sort of subject to change. But the latest, what I'm thinking is we may reopen the Pledge Manager in 2 months once we have castings and they're painted, and we can do some builds with them and whatever, and show you the stuff. We may reopen the pledge manager for just those. Everything will be locked in order, but if you want to add the resin set, you or both, or whatever, we should have done a bundle. We get both of them for. That's too late now. It's way too late now.
It's another.
Yeah,
the odds of that need to be thing. It's another SKU. It's another we have
240.
We're already.
That's a bad idea.
Yeah, remember how we were supposed to be at 150?
Yeah. Bad idea. No. We saw 150 sculpts, which we only broke that by 28 or so. That's not bad.
It's better than Caverns Deep, but it's like.
That's all.
We didn't stick to the thing we were supposed to be held to.
Well, that's like saying, well, we only murdered 10 people in that one, and this time we only murdered 2, so it's like a lot better. But, all right. So, anyways, we're thinking about that. So I don't know. No guarantees yet, but that was our thought. Because not everybody's going to really understand them because they're not painted and they're not finished. But I don't know. So we'll see. So I don't know if that interests people, but we could open it up.
So that's basically it. Yeah. If it seems like there's a lot of interest, if people would feel better having a chance to get the resin later, so they don't have to worry about it right now.
Well, or also just see it painted, right? Because it's not. We don't sell it unpainted. It only comes painted. It's a beautiful resin showpiece. So maybe you're not comfortable spending $250 to buy this crazy thing sight unseen. Yeah. Which is fair, right? That's a lot of money for the thing. So I don't know. That's what we're contemplating it.
So can we wait to buy Waterfall? So with the Waterfall, the reason we're able to do it with resin is that the resin is on a different production run than the Dwarvenite, basically.
So the resin doesn't require tooling. It's a much easier production run and doesn't have to be done in this massive batch. It's a whole separate factory, right? So resin is kind of its own thing. So we have some flexibility with that, which we don't have. We have flexibility with the resin and the phantasmal filters. And I think maybe the terrain trays.
Dwarvenite for all its benefits.
But not even the battle boards, no, because we have to cast all those frames. So like really, it's resin. Yeah, Dwarvenite is like we have to get cooking. Like we need you to complete your orders. Well, I guess you have to get your order first, but complete your orders so we can get the production thing started. And like, hey, 20 people have already completed their orders.
Yeah, so that's the thing. So like with the Waterfalls and all the rest of the Dwarvenite, we need to have those orders in earlier, otherwise we will miss our delivery date. But resin, we have more flexibility.
A little breathing room.
Yeah. Had a lot more questions. Yeah. So there's a couple people who are saying that they've noticed they have $10 in credit left over. Is that because of the pledge level, or is that do you know anything about that? Like if there's been changes from the they're just trying to figure out like where those extra $10 might have come from.
I have no idea.
So that might be a customer service thing. So
what was their what was their pledge level? Were they pack for adventure? Or did they overpledge in? I have no idea.
Because so the $10.
Because it always goes the other way. Like we don't make things cheaper. Like where did that money come from? Like
that definitely seems like it might be more of a customer service thing, or somebody that can get in there and look at the system. Could $10 be from the tote bag? Is that how we
but it
do it?
Be credit? No, because you spend I don't know. I'm totally baffled. That's it. Send an email to customer support.
Yeah.
At dwarvenforge.com because there's no emails are going in right now, so they'd love to
complete our PM, but it stays open until the 21st, right? It's past the 21st, right?
22nd of November.
22nd is when it closes.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of questions. No, the Waterfalls are not resin.
The only resin pieces are Threshold of Worlds and the Moonlit Arch.
Yeah.
Which are there's a category that says resin sets. They're right near the bottom.
Question about Heart of the Wild. Does it include all the bonus stretch goals like the Bone Bloom? No, you can see which bonuses are included if you go to the page for it on the website. It's not all of the bonuses.
It gets specific bonus stretch goals to each of the heart. So I can't remember what all they were, but like there were some big bonkers ones, right? Like the Heart of the Forest got a whole knoll, and so it has some sizable bonus stretch goals. So the big Heart of the Wilds will have all the bonus stretch goals and all the master level stretch goals that each of those heart add-ons had. Plus, it gets a round of bonus. It gets an additional mountain, forest, and swamp master level stretch goals. So a total of 3x of those stretch goals plus whatever bonus stretch goals those 3 add-ons got. But it's all like clearly listed out. Actually, I can even check it for you right now. It's clearly in the pledge mailer. Like there's a graphic that shows you what it has, so you can see all of it. Which one? The Bone Bloom.
Yes. I don't know if the Bone Bloom was.
It gets the Kickstarter feels like it was 1,000 years ago. Like I don't even know what it was.
There really wasn't a stopping point after the Kickstarter through this. Like it's still just been like one big blur.
So the Spreading Spore Claw and Whole Knoll. Yes, there is a Bone Bloom in the heart of the swamp. There's a Bone Bloom and
there are
Whole Knoll and a Spreading Spore Claw. Man,
if you're curious about what pieces are in what thing, if you go to the Discord in the Wildlands info channel, we have a collection of spreadsheets there that break down the pieces and the prices of every set.
You can also go to the Wildlands website.
Yes,
and
we've got Randy's spreadsheet is up there, I believe. And then the Wildlands website also has breakdowns.
Is right there. You can check it there. Yeah, it's all yes. We got all these are good questions.
Yeah, and there's another one. Can we get a breakdown of the baked-in savings in Untamed? Like Underdoom was advertised as $800 savings versus on the card.
Jesus.
That would be a lot of. Somebody would have to put some time into that.
Yeah.
We might be able to, but it's going to take some time.
How much do we need to tell your wife it's a discount of? And that's
how much do you need?
What's the
what do you need to hear to buy this?
Yeah. What's the? I don't know what the I don't know what it is because it's got it. I don't know. I can't remember why we had a hard time calculating it. I think partially because we didn't know everything we were going to put in it.
Yeah,
was one of the reasons.
Well, because because of how well Wildlands did, we did a lot of shuffling,
and we didn't have a price on the Basilisk. Right, we didn't have a price on the LED Bleakmire Basilisk because it was still being sculpted when we launched. So like, I don't think we could. I don't know. We could probably calculate it out now, but I don't know. I don't think we had a price on the Dragon yet either. So those were both in there. So yeah.
The I'm curious if somebody has done that breakdown already. Somebody has. I'm sure somebody on the forums or somebody on Discord has done that breakdown yet. You can get all the info you need for it off of the spreadsheets, but we don't have it marked here. People are asking, and a lot of people are asking for docs because of that sample build that or a compatibility build that used the docs.
Oh yeah, that was the Smuggler's Fort.
Do you think those will be restocked next Wednesday? Do you think that they'll be included in the? If it's only a handful, they'll probably go right away. Yeah.
Yeah.
I should
honestly, if there's more coming, we need more.
Honestly, once
I used them all up.
Once this slows down, I would actually love to sit down and figure out what our restock plan is for like the next year.
Yes.
And just get everything.
Well, we got some.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a couple of fun new configs we're working on, and
Yeah.
Yeah, people were. That was a fun. I was dying to do. That was a build I wanted to do during the Kickstarter and never got around to it.
There were so many things we wanted to do that we didn't have time.
But I was like dying to do a thing with docks in the swamp because that was like we literally designed some of these pieces like this diagonal. Ooh, go to the close up here.
Boom, boom, boom.
We're going all in. Oh wait, it's dead.
Oh, cool. Well, while you set that up, I can bring it back online. There we go. Look at that. All right.
Now first, let me focus. All right.
Too far. Oop. A little past it. There you go. Woof.
All right. So like this piece. So part of the design for this piece was that this was supposed to be nice and perfectly flat here, so that you could put a dock on like that, and then let's see, like this little dirt patch here was leading right to it, so that and this rock, so it was like a trail could lead right to it and was packed down. And it was like this was literally made to have a dock like put on the piece. So I was like I was dying to do a thing with docks. I finally got a chance to do it. It was really fun. I want to do more. Maybe I'll do one in the middle of the pledge manager. I don't know when I have time to do it, but anyway. What would people, if we were going to do one more compatibility build, what would people like to see? Oh, they haven't even seen. Oh, the killer one didn't even go. The hellscape into mountains into caverns.
Oh.
That one's not even live yet.
Well, now they know what to wait for.
Yeah, that one's a fun one. What else would people like to see if I was gonna do another one? Or maybe Toby's got nothing to do. He's actually got a lot to do. But
I mean, there's a lot of. Right now, I was gonna say like now that
nobody has not.
I was gonna say now that the pledge manager's over, like the world's our oyster. But no, we got to prep for this game now, and
and we've got a bunch of stuff cooking. But
yeah.
Start figuring out the next one. But anyway, if people want to see one more build, what would they see?
People saying tree houses. Do tree pegs fit in city builder floors?
Yes, they're identical.
Mm-hmm. They're the same. They're all CBS pegs.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Yes, it's a good question. Do people have? Are there any pieces that are still confusing people? Speaking of Pledge Manager,
that's a good point.
Is there anything else? Is there anything that anybody has any questions on in the Pledge Manager or to do with the pieces?
Lost temples in the wild, Dungeons of Doom outside a swamp, or outside in a swamp.
Oh, Toby did a Lost Temple. Oh, it was on stream.
I think he did that during.
That was a cool one.
Yeah, he did that during the Build Jam, I think.
Temple in the Swamp is a good one. What was it? Dungeon of Doom what?
He had it.
No, the other question was
Dungeon of Doom in a swamp, like outside pieces in a swamp.
Especially those ruins. The Dungeon ruins pieces.
I think it's what they're thinking is like there used to be some kind of impressive building here, and the swamp has eaten it.
Don't build your castle in the swamp. Didn't we all learn this?
Yeah. Will there be painting tutorials? Yes.
Oh, you wanted to talk about paint.
Yeah, that's actually something we've been thinking about. Specifically with this Kickstarter, we've been seeing a lot of people coming in talking about how they're going to be painting this stuff. Or like a lot of people doing a lot of unpainted.
That's what boggles my mind is of all the ones to do unpainted, this is the worst. I mean, maybe Hellscape is a little hard. I don't know. It's not like KS1. Like Dungeons.
Hellscape is certainly incredibly intimidating.
You paint a couple of stones, you dry brush it, you get the hell out of there. Like this is bonkers. Like
I think it's because of the price difference, though.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's almost a 50%
because of how complicated the paint is for this one.
That's why it's
the painted premium is So we've been talking about wanting to lean more into the hobbyist and self-painted kind of stuff, and I know one of the things people have been talking about is us having paints more in stock and everything, and I think that's something we're gonna want to try to.
What's gonna be interesting is see what when the Pledge Manager closes, see what the percentage of painted versus unpainted is, because normally it's about 80% of our backers buy painted, 20% buy unpainted.
You think it'll be a bigger skew this time?
It's impossible to know until, because what we found is the people that talk, the people that are on Discord, people on the forums, people on the comments, that's 20% of our backer base or something. So there's 80% of the people, we don't know what they're actually doing until you see their buying habits. So maybe of those people that are active in talking, maybe a bunch of them are going unpainted, but the bulk of everybody's still going painted. We have no idea how. We won't know until we have data.
Well,
it's interesting. I'm curious because of the price difference. Will it be will it skew? Will it be 30% unpainted? Will it be 50% unpainted? Will it be maybe it's people are so daunted it's only going to be 10% unpainted? I don't know.
Well, I think it's also we're also trying to move into a wargaming markets as well. And so much of wargaming is hobbyists and people who like to paint their own stuff. And so...
Well, there's always going to be the unpainted... there's always going to be the unpainted crowd, right? Because there's a pride and there's everything. The joy of doing it and the meditative moment of just being just you and your little things in the world. I love painting miniatures. I love sitting down and doing this stuff. Who's got all the time to do it? That's the big thing. So there's always going to be those people, and it's going to be curious how many of those, if that that's shifting one way or another, and then how do we support that? Like that's the bigger question. Is like, we started doing paints to support the unpainted backers and support the hobbyist nature of this, and the sort of it's the legacy of wargaming and tabletop and all this stuff. It's always been DIY, right? Because it was fringe for so long. There wasn't stuff that didn't exist, so people had to do it themselves and whatever.
Yeah, and that's one thing you see on like the forums and Discord as well, is we've got a lot of hobbyists and we got a lot of people who make their own stuff here. And I think also
the forums, it's crazy.
With how complicated Wildlands is, like all that. The complication and all those specific details also mean that there's a lot more room for custom paint jobs with this set than a lot of the other stuff. We've seen people talking about...
I mean, you could paint 1,000 different colors. You could draw autumnal trees. You could do winter things. You could do crazy... there's no limit to what people could do.
So while we're not able to... we can't put paints into the Pledge Manager right now, from what I understand. It's too late for that.
We can't add anything to Pledge Manager, right? But we barely can get the Pledge Manager. We got 244 sets. We like
But I think.
But
I guess that's the thing.
We could do a bundle. Like, so here's the thing: is you're not going to need the paint. If ostensibly, if you're just getting paint for your Wildlands stuff, you're not going to need the paint until June of next year.
Yeah.
So there's plenty of opportunity. We could potentially, if a lot of people are interested, and they're like, and let's see what the numbers are, right? If it's like 35% of people went unpainted, maybe it's a chance to blast out a couple of new colors and a new thing or whatever. Like, so traditionally, we've never made money on the paints, right? The paint we offer is basically, it's a courtesy to the people who are getting unpainted, and like you were saying, it's a great value, right?
That's the thing.
We're half the price or a third of the price of other things. It's an enormous way, and it's large quantity because you have to cover a lot of terrain, right? You're burning through this stuff. Those the little Army Painter bottles, the Reaper bottles, like that wouldn't cut it. So maybe there's maybe we could either do a bundle or some new paintings or a thing or whatever, and offer that in May or April or March or something, and then that could, or even a pre-order or something, I don't know, and then have it shipped kind of all at the same time or some sort of, I don't know. There's something we might be able to work some. I could actually shipping because I don't know how we exactly would work it, but we could do. There's plenty of time to sort of figure something out for the paint and get it to people around the same time that their order arrives.
Theoretically, something that would be great to do, especially as we go through, because one of the things we're trying to do as well is reconfigure a lot of the older stuff to make like good like entry points for all the biomes and stuff that we have.
Oh, you do have the bundle, the unpainted cottage with the stuck going.
If we're able to put together paint bundles for each of those biomes as well, and be like, this is what we recommend for
WizKids, who do like a bunch of the people, like a bunch of the companies do that, right? They'll learn to paint bundle, like there's what's the one now? There's like it's like the zombie ogre and all the paints you need to do it, and it's in one box and it's a thing. Although I think what people have suggested, which I think is a great suggestion, is just raise the price of the paints.
That's part of it. It's we're not making money on the paints, but it's also because we're selling. It's nice.
Too cheap.
We're like selling it at a loss, which is not.
Yeah, no. Like, turns out we're in the Venn diagram of artists and business people, our overlap. It's not so.
We can raise the price to make it profitable and still be cheaper than like comparable paints.
Yeah.
Like,
if it's $8 a bottle, we bumped it up to $12 a bottle. It's still way cheaper than the comparable than the Vallejo or any of this other stuff, and it's still the volume is there, and it's not.
It seems like people are very interested looking at the chat. And I know that Hamster and Aaron have also talked about wanting to get a couple more colors to like flesh out the stuff that's there as well.
We don't have a purple. Let's just talk
which
about
is
the
wild because we make everything purple.
Come on,
we make everything purple.
Yeah. So if nothing else, we got to make it purple. Because there's purple nowhere in the Wildlands, but no, it's all other.
Yeah, we use purple accents in the swamp
right here in the quadrant. Yeah, and on the basilisk. And everywhere on the dragon.
So I guess the thing is, like, I guess over time, I guess feedback on, and if you could put this on the Discord or the forums or email it at ota@dwarvenforge.com. If you're in this camp, if you're a hobbyist or a painter where we can be doing something specific to like help make this easier for you, like what stuff would be the most helpful for you, that's something that we really want to get going. in this downtime after the Kickstarters, we want to get better about our paints. So,
if it makes sense, because once again, it doesn't. We don't want to put an enormous amount of time and money into it because it's not going to be our big revenue stream. But it would be. We want to support. Our unpaid folks and the hobby and all of that and whatever. And I don't know. So, yeah, there's definitely something to look at in there. Remind me again on the 9th, 10th when we're talking about the future, talk about paints.
When after
put that on the list.
After we finally get some rest here.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what? On a random, unrelated, I backed this Kickstarter for dry brushes by this company Ghost. It's a company. It's like a guy in Arizona that makes these. He's done 2 Kickstarters.
He's grinding up his own rocks to make
these brushes. They are. Although Hamster says you should just buy makeup brushes at the pharmacy.
That's what he recommends. Yeah.
But these these are really they're pretty cheap and they're awesome because they have a whole set of brushes which I really like. But the dry brushes they're circular but they're flat, so they're not shaped like a normal paintbrush has like a paintbrush shape like the teardroppy whatever. Mm-hmm. So they're cut flat. They're wide. They're a big circle, cut flat, super soft bristles, and they're white, so it's easy to clean. So you can see if they're clean or not. And I don't know. I really like the Ghost line of. I don't know if they actually sell. You can buy them anywhere other than the Kickstarter, but it was called Ghost Dry Brushes, and he said he's gonna launch another thing in the spring, I think. But they're they're just like butter. Because my dry brushing sucks. I'm not very good at it, but. Yeah.
You just gotta do it, man.
I do.
Dry brushing and basing are like the 2 things that I am comfortable with. It's getting details on. I still need a lot of work on.
The wet shading. Yeah.
Especially, with like high flow acrylics too, because that's not like what I started painting with. So I started using those, like the ones in the office. I'm like, oh, this is like an entirely different beast now, and I need to but I see the results that Hamster and Aaron get, and it's like, okay, so this is possible. I just got to figure out how to do it.
Yeah, but just go if you want to get inspired or depressed. Go on Twitter and just look at all the things people. It's unbelievable. Some of the freehand there's who is it? Is it Travis Faber? One of our backers, will retweet 50 crazy mini paintings every day of just bonkers. Yeah. Anyway, that's paints with something to think about. What else? Did anybody have any questions about the Pledge Manager or Pledge Manager pieces or anything else before we veer off? Here's a veering. What? So everybody's pretty excited about the sample builds, right? Showing
people have been loving
those. It, right? He just did all these fun different combos, trying to do different price points, different things, and whatever. I'm sure I know what the answer is, but I'm going to ask anyway. Would that be a cool thing on our website? Oh, we're talking about it.
Hey.
Yeah, I heard something.
We
said, Toby heard sample builds and it's just like a ghost just sort of glided in without walking.
So we're making them do 20 more.
Would people be interested in sample builds on our website for regular products, right? Sort of kind of build them on style, but of just hey, here's. You're interested in dungeons? Here's 5 different dungeon builds using these sets that can show you whatever. Here's 5 whatever, and just same sort of thing, and different sort of price points, different things, whatever. So it's I don't know, something we're toy with because it certainly seems like the best way to visualize it. Oh, here's a bonkers thing. I don't even know if it's feasible. This is next year, right? So we're a year from now.
I'm just terrified of what you're gonna say.
A Kickstarter has launched, right? It's amazing. It's epic. It is. It's like.
So you're saying this is during KS8?
We can't call it KS8 because it's
okay. This is during Mildlands.
Yeah, Mildlands, right? The follow-up to Wildlands, where things get really just mellow. Just Mildlands. It's just calm.
Said it was just epic.
Rabbit trails. Anyways, so we're in the Mildlands. We're deep in the Mildlands, right? We just launched. So there it is. So there's a free download you can get, and you throw on your AR gear, whatever it is, right? You got your crazy new Apple glasses that just came out.
I want to bring in my headset.
Next year, next June or whatever, or you pop up your tablet, whatever. and we have all the new pieces
Digitized.
in 3D in this builder, and you can build with them in AR and look at them on your table.
No joke, people have been asking about this for a while, and it's been a thing where I'm like, it'd be awesome to have. If we can find a way to make it happen, that's incredible. It sounds like a lot.
Well, we wouldn't be doing it.
That's fair.
There's somebody else.
You're talking about the correspondence?
Yeah.
That we actually get to follow up on now that the pledge manager's
cool,
out.
Right, like, wouldn't that be bonkers? And then would you play D&D? Like, would you? Who wouldn't want to play? Like, you can build your thing. You could pre-build your dungeon digital if you wanted, then build it analog, or just build it digital, and then your friend that's in like San Antonio. I don't know why San Antonio.
I'm glad to know that you were also thinking about leveraging this connection to do this, because that's what I was thinking would be a cool place to take it.
How cool?
Yeah.
It's anyway. Would that be bonkers? Right, virtually, and then we could have like you get the add-on says, hey, this is your pledge, and you can like play with your pledge in AR. Build and see what it looks like on your own table because it's AR. So you build the thing, you put it out there, and like
it just feels like a super niche thing. I guess like how many of our backers are going to have the equipment to look at it?
Well, you could do it with your iPad or your iPhone. Or
so you're saying like it would be available also just like bring up on.
It's AR, so you could do it in anything that any like you don't have to have like the cool. So Apple's releasing their AR glasses next June or something, which would be a perfect time to then like.
What happened to Google Glass?
They're doing a second round.
Okay.
I used to work like right across the street from the Google thing, and there were all these just idiots like would like come stumbling out with their like AR glasses on and like kind of the different thing. And you're like,
I have Stefan's old pair.
I remember,
and I have never seen you wandering around like an idiot on it because there's no reason to wear it.
I remember this HoloLens demo they did in like 2015 or 2016. Where they showed like this guy like looking down at a table and like a Minecraft build came up and he was like moving his thing around. He was seeing like the Minecraft zone, like everything you see from like 3D and like all this stuff. I'm like, man, that's awesome and like revolutionary. It'd be really cool if we could do that. And I haven't heard anything about it since. It's been like 5 years. Wow. And it's a thing where like is the technology gonna? When is that gonna be something that is accessible enough to be like in every house? I guess. Which I mean, the Quest 2 just came out, and that's like super affordable.
It's having a thing to put on your head is that's what makes it, that's what makes it the thing that's used.
There is Minecraft VR, yeah.
You wouldn't want to play D&D in AR for 4 hours if you had to hold your phone up.
Yeah, you can do the QR code on paper. Yeah, QR is actually one of the earliest augmented reality things that a lot of phones are.
So Toby, do you want to do like 100 sample builds? Because the chat, I think, is excited.
Wait.
Right now, on camera.
Come
on.
No. Let's do this. Oh.
Yeah, come over here, sign this contract.
Now for the website, we do like.
Yeah, I'm definitely down to like 100%. I think we'll eventually get a large number. So.
HoloLens is Microsoft, no Google. Yeah.
5.
Yeah, I wasn't meaning it as Google.
5 per zone to start or something, or even 3. Like sewers could be 3.
Oh, I'm excited about this. Like
2. It really means like 10 for city at minimum. Yeah. Actually more. Because like there's all these things like alleys build, a thing build, like a.
But not only that, it's an opportunity to cross pollinate the different like things. Like
couldn't you just put all the pieces in Tabletop Simulator? That'd be cool. I guess the thing that gets scary when we're doing all this is like we have to make sure it doesn't become a thing where we make it easy to like just kind of steal and print the pieces. But the thing is, even if you 3D print our pieces, you're not getting the durability. You're not getting
and then you have to
the special effects. You're not getting
and it's going to take you all this time.
It's not going to look as good. It's not going to have all the functionality. So it's not a huge deal. But
are you worried that like if people have that, it's like I have this, so I don't need to buy our pieces.
Well, Magic did it, right? Magic Arena, people were playing Magic Arena like crazy, and I don't think it slowed down the sale of analog cards, right? Aren't people still buying analog Magic cards?
That's fair.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a great analogy.
I don't know if it's like the same thing. Yeah. It's hard to like, especially.
Well, you know what? It'd be really cool to have the AR version of this tree, but like, I also just want to hold the Quildren tree.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like it's a different thing, and maybe there will be people that would just be digital only, right? They would just be like they just want to live in the Matrix and have Dwarven Forge in the Matrix, and they don't want to have, they don't want to have a physical one. And that's fine. That'd be great. Like if they are, if they want to buy the digital version in AR.
It's a big undertaking, but if we can pull it off, it's cool.
They're working on it. We've been
fair.
talking to somebody who's working on this thing, and it's going to be bonkers.
I can't even tell you how excited I am about it either, because
It's going to be bonkers.
I've legitimately been fans of.
It's going to be bonkers.
I've been a fan of them for like 8 years.
It's going to be bonkers. And if it all comes together,
yeah,
it will be bonkers. There's a lot that needs to happen between them.
I was not expecting to talk about that today. All right.
Yeah, that's that's the beauty of the internet, is you never know what's going to happen. Are we the internet, right? Because we're on the internet.
So somebody actually asked to see the underside of the Titan's Tooth Topper real quick, so I had Toby grab that. I think they wanted to see if it's a dead side or what it looks like on the bottom. It is a dead side, yeah.
It looks like polystone.
Oh, let's just go to this.
It doesn't look like much.
So this is This is
There's a polystone prototype, and it has the skew on there.
Is there any way to see what a double long mountain natural bridge between the Titan's Tooth and Titan's Tooth base look like? Are the bridge pieces reversible?
They are reversible.
Okay.
And we have. Did they? Oh, it didn't go up yet. The rabbits, the rocky rabbits.
The pictures are up, yeah, but I was.
No, the video. You got waylaid today.
Yeah.
We have maybe tomorrow. We have a video of that going up. Of double bridge. Toby did a classic Toby did a double mountain bridge between. It actually wasn't even between. It was between two crags.
Who won the social drawing? We did announce it. I know somebody, was it Andy Demps? Somebody who won I think it was the Facebook one, was on Discord. They were announced though. I don't know them off the top of my head, but at least one of them was on the Discord, and people have talked about it. Yeah, the Rocket Rapids video should be. I mean, it should be up tomorrow at the latest.
So it's one of the sample builds. You can see near the bottom of that sample builds page that Toby did with the Raging River terrain trays and a bunch of elevation, and it's got a double bridge in there. It's really cool. And I did a little walkthrough video of it.
Yeah, so that actually talks about the double bridge thing. It was Andy Demps, because that's me. Oh, hi, welcome, and congratulations. Well, older sets like Caverns and the Sewers get magnets. Actually, the new Caverns configurations, that's exactly what we're doing. The new Caverns configurations that are coming out next month, they hit the store.
Let's not make any promises.
The goal is for them to come out next month.
We have
shipping has gotten...
New Caverns core sets, which, man, it feels like 1,000 years. Like
it mixes... Shipping has been so rough with the pandemic.
So we basically took our favorite Caverns pieces from the original Caverns and threw magnets in them. So it's not. I mean, it wasn't a ton. It was the gull wing corner, the weird crusty corner. I think.
I love that piece.
Yeah. The floor with a little raised elevation. I can't remember. It's like 6 or 7 of those core pieces have some magnets that are getting bundled together with some other core pieces from Caverns Deep to make 3. The small, a medium, and a large core sets, and they all have magnets. They'll have a cohesive paint scheme. They're gonna be awesome. So
yeah, it's basically updating the old pieces with the advances that we've made. It's updating the paint scheme. It's updating the tech, like putting magnets in them.
The problem is it's just as expensive to put the magnets in as like you have to just make a new mold, which is like
that's fair. But I think in the long run, what you got is a better set.
I don't know if we're gonna do it for sewer or not, but it depends on what we do in cities. And if we go
cities.
Yeah, if we go revisit the sewers, then I don't know. We have to look at it. I know once you've had magnets, what rhymes with magnet?
You don't go bagnet.
Bagnet?
You can't go bagnet.
Once
you've had magnets, you'll never watch Dragnet because you'll be too busy playing with your magnetic pieces.
Once you've had magnetism, there's an endless schism between that and things without magnetism.
Anybody here watch Dragnet? Anybody a fan of that timely reference?
So, I don't know. But once you've had a taste of the magnets, it's like
you'll stick around. That's a pretty good one. Boom. Yeah, I didn't think of that. That credit for that goes to the Last Space Vagabond, which is a great name.
It's awesome.
Revisit.
Yeah. So like I don't know. Once you've built with magnets, you're like, man, I don't want to not have magnets. I want them everywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Well, we're working on little by little chipping away. It's just expensive and it's more production time and it's yada yada yada. But funny enough, we didn't know if people were gonna like magnets back in the Dungeon of Doom. In fact, Jay was terrified that no one was gonna make magnets and made a whole bunch of sets without magnets, just in case.
A lot of people are asking us to revisit the city now.
Yeah, well, maybe we should talk about that.
Yeah.
So
let's go ahead and schedule that in. Let's put that on that sheet of paper. Erase the thing that says "Talk About Cities" and replace it with "Talk About Cities."
Perfect.
Yeah.
In the future category.
Yeah.
Were there any more questions about the Pledge Manager before we talk about?
I think most of the questions are things that. If you do still have questions about the Pledge Manager, feel free to hit up the Discord or the forums. Most of the information is out there. It's just I know it's sometimes we'll say it here and you miss us saying it here or whatever, but most of the people understand the Pledge Manager pretty well. So if you ask on the Discord or on the forums, people can help you out. And I can also get to it after the stream. I'll be answering questions and stuff again.
Let's see what we speaking of Pledge Manager.
So yeah, Pledge Manager stuff we can answer there. Should we show off the fan build as we transition into the next thing? Are you gonna update the KS6 and 666 items?
31 people have completed their orders
already.
Woo!
Wow.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting a lot of people to complete today.
Well, it's like they're following. That's 0% of our backers, of our total orders. It says so. We got that going for us. But there's 82 people online right now.
Please don't do build demos for things that are sold out on the store at the time.
Well, here's the thing. Is we don't know what's gonna sell.
That's another thing.
The build a month. It takes us between shooting the thing and getting sometimes stuff will sell out when you
as we're prepping the thing to sell it.
Yeah. And you don't know and it's hard to know. Sometimes I don't know, the famous one I had was we ordered a new set of dungeons, classic remastered, and within 2 weeks we sold the amount of dungeons that we'd sold in the previous 6 months in 2 weeks. Yeah. And I was like, now we have to do it. It was it's hard. We have a really hard time predicting our stock. We try our best to just do it with things that are in stock. But sometimes if there's bestseller, if there's sets that we know we're always going to have, like classic remastered set or Zaltar's Game Room or Advanced Builder or something, I don't know, some sets that you always have to have. We'll do some sample builds with those because they will be in stock regularly, right? They might be out of stock from time to time, but they're going to be. That's a thing we will. They're evergreen. They may not, always be there, but they will be there, consistently. Versus, there's a lot of sets that will never return.
Well, and that's one of the things we've been thinking about with the build of the month too. Is we try to look at what's in the store.
Oh, always.
And so that we can move it. But it's also one of the things.
Sets. I'm like, Eric, what do we got? He's like, well, you have 2 spingles, a spangle, and a spigot. I'm like, what? I can't. All right, I'm gonna make something with that.
Necessity is the mother of invention and all that.
Yeah. Spangles and spigots.
But I guess it also ties into the paint thing too, though, where it's one of the things we want to do is we're trying to figure out how to make the restocking and all that more efficient. Because it would be great to have more stuff in stock more often, and so there's not so much demand for it.
Well, we just need to cut our sets by 75%.
That's fair. I guess that's the main thing is we were such a Kickstarter company that a lot of the stuff we did in the Kickstarter doesn't make sense to restock.
90% of it.
Yeah. So reconfiguring a lot of the old stuff to be more store friendly, and
that's one of the one of the reasons people are like, why did they you were making such a big deal about not making extraneous sets, and then you made these deluxe special effects packs, right? So we have the light puck bundled with the floor and the topper and the fogger bundled with the floor and topper, because those are sets for the web store, right? They're self-contained sets that we know we can use. We can ship from those right to the web store and put them in there. They make sense. They're easy to go and whatnot.
So that's going to be a whole thing, right? Is it with Wildlands? With Wildlands, we put an effort into designing this in a way where we know how we can keep this in stock moving forward, basically.
Not at all.
Or at least we have.
No,
we have an idea.
We designed it to make it the best possible for the Kickstarter, and then realized it's going to be a train wreck to try and do it in the store.
But we're trying to do that so when it hits the
store.
Well,
that was both Tyler and Toby's overly ambitious plan. is, yeah, I know, hard to imagine that we have an overly ambitious plan here. Is that because initially we were like, yeah, we're going to design this so that it can be. Your point was the original idea was to do it as you suggested, and then the reality once we finish is it's not at all from the store. But Toby and Tyler's ambitious plan is by the end of the Pledge Manager have figured out a bunch of web store friendly sets that we can then order at the same time as we make our Kickstarter order. So we can do that all in one big fell swoop, and then basically have stock for the web store that's like web store friendly that we can do. And
ideally it would then be great to go back and do that for all the old sets, but it's a lot of work. It's a thing where because we took so long to do this, it's just become like it's a lot.
I've got like 800 sets or something. Like it's insane. Like right, you just like shipping through all So we'll get there.
But there is a big update planned for the store that should make browsing it easier, and we are actively devoting resources to improving the shopping experience right now. So you should see some changes coming up.
Yes, that's all of you. Oh, and we, on that note, we have Andrew from Roll for Persuasion.
That was one of the big moves. Yeah, if you're familiar with him, he does a great podcast. Nate was on it during Wildlands. And it just so happened, like, right after we had him on, and it was somebody who I've known on Twitter for, like, a while. And so I was like, hey, he runs a great podcast. You should get on there. We did a lad. You guys hit it off. Yeah. And then he, like, got laid off, like, right after that. And we were like, and it's like, he specializes in e-commerce. He specializes in, like, social media marketing. He specializes in, like, all this stuff.
And he's a gamer. And he knows our brand. And he knows this industry. And he knows whatever. And he is available. And he's a nice guy. And I was like, wow.
So we actually specifically brought him on to help us with fixing all these things, and improving all that stuff. So I'm very excited about it. It's been really cool to have him around because already he's hitting us with stuff where it's like, oh yeah, we really should have thought about that before. And yeah.
Oh. All right, so let's talk about the future. Unless anybody has any last minute.
Do you want to show the fan build first, or do you want?
Yeah. Let's show the fan build.
So, May sent me some info on this one. Well, you haven't seen it yet, have you?
No, I haven't seen it.
Boom. This is it right here. This is from James Sanford. He says he's making do until he can get forest banks.
He's doing a great job.
Yeah. I think what I kind of like about this is this. You can work this in with. You bring like a boat in and all that. You can go either way, right? You can either be docking here and have this be like entering like a new continent or a new area, or you can be coming out to the coast.
Or both, right? You have to fight your way in and then fight your way back in.
That's very possible. I don't know. I like when you move through kind of like distinct looking areas. The fact that you can do something encounter-wise, you can do something entirely different with the water section. Then you got the trees. You can hide all sorts of things in the trees. I don't know.
Great, nice gameable space in the middle there,
and then like the whole time the player's just imagining
angles?
What it's going to lead to. What was that?
Any alternate angles?
No, this is all she sent me. But that's what we got.
Well,
I don't know. It's pretty.
It's a good one.
I like it. All right, so
I want to go LARPing there.
Dude, I would love to go LARPing as soon as it's actually feasible again. The back half of this.
Oh, yeah, so we were going to talk a little bit. Well, it starts with
we're tired of talking about Wildlands.
No, never get. So next week we're going to send out a survey, and what do you want us to ask you? Right. So that was so I have a whole list of things. So what we're trying to do is we sent out a survey after Hellscape. We made a lot of mistakes on that survey because it was all fill-in answers.
It was all essay stuff, so it became so much to read through.
Dude, Tyler went through 1,800 answers of it was like
they're like all written out, and a lot of you guys get pretty verbose, which I love because we collected post-mortem stuff, and some of you wrote like 7-page documents and posted them in there, which was awesome. Great. There was a lot of great insight in there, and genuinely a lot of the feedback we got from that post-mortem helps us a lot with the Pledge Manager.
Absolutely. And
we really appreciated it.
So what the purpose of this is, we got a lot of really good insight in that. So we want to do an even better one in this, and the goal is to try and just pick your brains. Find out what people are excited about, what things they would like to change, what features you want most. Like that was, a lot of the core stuff in Wildlands came from insight from that survey, on people's sort of building habits and the things that they were interested in, and it was very fundamental. So essentially, we have there's kind of 3 parts to the survey, and its first part is basically just like a backer profile, and it's trying to find out, like, do you prefer painted or unpainted? How many Kickstarters have you backed? If you haven't, why haven't you? What games do you play? So if there's, I don't know, are there any questions that we should ask that would be helpful for us to know about our backers? That's the first one. Yeah. So then, and that one is I'm not as interested in. Like, I mean, I am, obviously. It's kind of interesting to see what systems people are playing, and one of the questions is, how did you find out about Dwarven Forge, right? Because that's curious. Like,
I am curious how many people to this Kickstarter are completely new.
1,100.
1,100.
Oh, never new to Dwarven Forge. There were 1,100 new backers to Dwarven Forge.
Okay.
That are never backed a Kickstarter before, but they might have bought from the web store. They might have done whatever. But yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Like, so that's a question. So I don't know if there's any other question we should ask that would be useful to us to know where to put our energies in learning about new people. That's first question. So then the second part is general Kickstarter logistics, and it's asking what stuff that we do is, what things are useful to filling out your pledge. Do you like sample builds? Do you like field guides? Do you like live streams? Do you like whatever, beauty photos? Do you like whatever? List of all those sort of things. The question is, like, how often should we live stream? Right? Do you want to see us every day? Do you want to see us 3 to 5 times a week? Do you want to see us never? Do you want to, like, what's useful? We run the whole gamut. There's a little section about stretch goals, right? What sort of, how important are stretch goals to you? What sort of stretch goals do you prefer? How do you value, like, a bunch of stuff about stretch goals, about what we kind of offer. I can't remember the other basic Kickstarter stuff. And then it's, hey, cities. There's a whole bunch of fun stuff about, like, which areas of the city are most interesting to you, right? And it's like,
should we ask about the sci-fi set as well on there?
Yes, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, we should ask about sci-fi as well if we're asking about cities.
Yes. So then there's a whole bunch of questions about sort of what parts of the city, like what sort of features, so whatever. There's also some questions of, like, do you own Dwarven Forge buildings? Do you own Dwarven Forge streets? Do you own Dwarven Forge sewers? And if you do, would you be interested in expansions of them? If you don't, why not? There's I think those are the core bits. So I guess the question is, what else do you want to tell us, right? Like, what other things should we ask you that would be helpful to us? Which is a wildly open-ended question.
What feedback do we want? It's interesting because I think.
Oh, here's another good one too. Is we have one that's like, what are the drawbacks? What do you see the limitations with your DF terrain, right? So I'm trying to find out if everybody in the world is like, hey, and obviously cost doesn't count.
What's like some functionality that we're missing?
Yeah, right. Yeah. And if everybody's hitting the same thing, and we're like, man, we really have to fix that, whatever the heck it is. Then also sort of the interest. What other sorts of products interest you? Is a question on there. What if we just about painting? They have a couple of neat stretch goal-y ones. Would you prefer this or this as a stretch goal, right? Because everybody always just wants every stretch goal, but you have to give people choices. Do you want?
How much do you look to spend per year? Oh, maybe we should ask, like, like if we're taking, like, basically a census, like, are you more likely to go, like, I would like to buy, like, sets or are you the kind of person who wants to buy like a bunch of floors and a bunch of walls and like I make my own sets out of it, basically? Are you a Lego set or a bucket of Legos person?
That's a good question. We have a question of how much do you think you'd spend on the Kickstarter?
Okay.
But it's nobody knows, like, it's a wild. So anyway, so if there's some good questions, let us know. If there's some questions that we should be asking you.
Yeah. I guess essentially what it is like how can we better serve you? What bases are we not covering at this moment?
What are ways that we can deliver to you what you want?
Yeah.
Because I think we did a pretty damn good job of delivering what people wanted in Wildlands. We want to keep it up, right? We want to figure out how to deliver what you want.
Encounter versus building blocks is a good way to put it. Masticon.
Yeah.
Which also, shout out to Masticon for posting those set reviews. They've been helpful to a lot of people. And I appreciate somebody going through and putting that much time into breaking down.
Set reviews on every single set, right?
Yeah. Every single set. As we release them like daily.
What's the worst rated set?
I don't think it's less of like a rating thing, and it's more like a here's what's in this and here's how it compares to the other sets. So like it's basically like giving people an idea of what each set is focused on, and like that sort of
What's
deal.
The weak link? I'm curious what the
what's the worst thing we've done?
Yeah. So we can avoid it.
Can we rate sets?
Yeah.
Oh no, let's not get torn apart right now.
Yeah. No, I want to know like where the weak spots are, right? So like this Kickstarter, I think for whatever reason, a lot of people, or whatever reasons, like stretch goals didn't resonate for people, right? That's like that's
been a whole discussion, and that's another thing with like,
right? That's like
we've got an idea of maybe how we can, because that's the thing is like a lot of people have said is to try and tie it to the amount that people are spending, and so then it's been a
hard,
thing
but I think we have a plan. But
we got an idea.
We don't know what it'll turn into.
We need to develop that idea more before we talk about it, I think.
That needs water.
Yeah, it's something that we thought of during the post-mortem discussions, and we haven't had time to really focus on it yet.
Yeah. Well, it's it is in the abstract. Like the idea of Wildlands was like going to be generic sets that could be combined to make things, and in the abstract it was a fantastic idea. Executionally, it didn't work at all. So it's like similarly in the abstract we have a good idea.
Well, I feel like,
but we'll see.
Well, I feel like it's like how the Wii U was like necessary to get to the Switch, which is not going to make any sense to you.
What are you talking about?
It's a thing where it's like it's like a cool idea, and it's like, but you got to try it and then realize like, okay, we need to do this thing differently to actually get there. It's like a stepping stone kind of. There's a lot of things that we tried to do with Wildlands where it was like
work in progress.
Okay, so we didn't quite understand how to get there this time.
Yeah, we'll get there. Whether so, but that's that for like that's an example. Like we want to know the things that didn't resonate for you, so we can try a different approach. And you know what? I'm not going to guarantee the next approach works either, right? We keep trying different things to see what works, and it's not always going to work. And
in general, though, one of the things that we got consistently from the postmortem was that this was the best Kickstarter. Like despite like problems people had with it, like in terms of like the way things were laid out, the availability of pieces, this does seem like it was an improvement at least. Although there were definitely things we could have done better.
Well, there's always going to be things we can do better.
Yeah.
There's always, because if we're crushing it, then we're gonna like, well, let's push the envelope. Let's keep going further. Like we'll keep pushing until we break. So it's
Oh, Chuck has a good idea. In the survey, we should add a question about pre-orders, like how they would feel about doing like full price pre-orders. Like, is that gonna appeal to them or not?
Hey, and Chuck, I'm gonna post this up tomorrow, so everybody can look at it on Slack and put in notes.
It was a great Kickstarter, but so expensive. Okay, so actually, on the topic of that, regarding cities, Wildlands was definitely expensive, but a lot of that was also, when you look at Wildlands, to do Wildlands right, it was a lot of like, we need massive pieces that have like complicated organic shapes that are difficult to tool and have complex paint schemes. If we do cities, that's a lot more simpler geometric shapes.
It's gonna be expensive.
It's gonna be expensive, but I think compared to
some of the stuff will be like, yes, a wall, like a city builder wall is a lot cheaper than this, right? Or
I feel like bread and butter is going to be easier.
Yes, like even thing. Like this is more complicated paint wise than a city builder floor, whatever. But it's still going to be expensive. Like there's no way around Like it's gonna, and you know what? It's gonna be complicated. It's like it'll be.
We're not.
Don't
gonna
worry.
we're not gonna be able to stop ourselves from making. What I'm hoping we can do though is if we can have some simpler building blocks, and then also get into like the cool
because the
detailed stuff.
You can do. This could be an encounter in a city.
Yeah.
Right. This can't be an encounter in the wilderness, right? Like you need, fundamentally, you can build an encounter in the city for $100.
Yeah.
Fundamentally, it's really hard to build an encounter in the wilderness for $100. Like there's just, you just need some space. So yeah, so there are certainly some things. There are certainly some ways we can do. There will be areas we can do more affordable things, like you can have a little tavern or a little stable or a little whatever, or a section of a sewers or whatever, whatever the heck we do. I don't know what we're gonna do yet, but there's the farmhouse or the thing or the little field or whatever. Like that's the scale is generally smaller and more constrained than wilderness. So fundamentally we can do stuff cheaper.
I think the big challenge with all of this, especially with something where the whole point is that we're trying to, especially when we're trying to deal directly with our backers, instead of we don't want to be just like somebody who just puts something out and has them buy it. We want to actually personally interact with people and try to do what they want. The biggest thing is, how do we serve every budget level, especially when we're making a premium product? How do we design something that can simultaneously satisfy people who have a couple $100 and still want to get something worthwhile, and also people who want to go absolutely nuts and build these massive. We have to people that are going to spend $100 and people that are going to spend $100,000. And we need to make
literally,
sure
that is the.
We need to make sure they're both happy and they're both getting their money's worth.
Maybe not $100,000. So we had somebody spend $74,000 in Cavern Steep.
I could see it. There was a lot of stuff in Cavern Steep. There was way too much stuff in Cavern Steep.
So anyway, so that it's so from $75 to $75,000. So you want to be able to sort of span that whole thing. But yes, there's gonna be some stuff that we can do, smaller, more contained things that are not you can get sort of a thing that feels more complete, probably at a lower price point. Although I don't know. I think the scatter set, you can do some neat stuff with the scatter and wildlands and whatever, but it's a different animal.
Yeah.
But honestly, the pieces are, even though they will generally be smaller and maybe simpler-ish. They're not one of the biggest problems to me about City Builder is the lack of variety. It's visually boring, right? Everything's a box. It's all the same thing. We need to break out of that, and it's gonna get. It's going to get more complicated. The paint jobs are going to, it's all going to be more whatever. So, we can't be, I don't know what it is going to be, but I know it's not going to get cheaper. Fundamentally it might be, the big final pledge might be cheaper, and the individual pieces might be somewhat cheaper because they're smaller and whatever, but overall it's always just going to get more expensive because manufacturing costs are going up, shipping costs are going up. We can't even ship batteries right now. You can't airship battery. It's all day. A whole we had 2 boxes of the new Dread Hollow paint scheme that got bounced because they had 2 CR2032 batteries and 2 of the little things, and it has to all go by boat now. I don't know. It's a mess. Right now, international trade is a mess right now. So well, so anyway, it's
something weird happened. I don't know what it was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So, tell us what else we should ask in, and we're gonna send it out really early next week, hopefully.
Yeah.
Did anybody have any suggestions in the chat about what we should ask?
In the survey, we went over most of it. We
Then they don't want to tell us what to ask you.
I gave you several.
Okay. And I wrote that.
Yeah. And you can always also, it is hard to keep track of all of with 110 people watching and commenting the whole time. It is hard to keep track of all of it. So feel free to
OTA.
Yeah, OTA at dwarvenforge.com, or go to the forums, or go to the Discord.
Hey, you should start a Discord thing. What do they call it? A thread?
I can start another channel.
A channel about a survey.
I can specifically make one basically to replace the postmortem thread.
Yeah, just
or I can just reopen that postmortem thread, I guess.
Yeah, if we're gonna send you a survey, what should we ask you?
Yeah. I guess actually we have a suggestions channel for that.
So pre-survey survey. We need this.
Pre-survey survey. Yeah, that really is what it is, huh?
You know, we've got the brain power. We have so many smart people in our orbit. Like, why not harness them before we harness them, right? Like, ask them what to ask them before we ask them, so that then it can,
Wargaming Recon's got a good one. Ask us what other terrain. Jonathan
Reinhardt.
Ask us what other terrain companies people use and why. It's not bad.
Yeah, I guess I don't care. Am I allowed to say that? Like, I don't know. I'm just not like. I don't know. I
start a thread on the forum. We could do that. Yeah.
Actually, Tabletop World makes some glorious. Like,
they just brought up really Tabletop World.
Who did?
IME. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, like Tabletop World. Be great if DF could do something like their terrain as well, but modular.
Yeah. You think we can?
But
we're gonna go. We're going toe to toe. Because you know what it is? We don't have a nemesis. We don't have a challenge. So this is like, because there's some good buildings out there. I'm like,
that's the thing is that we decided to be the company that does everything by hand, and there's just not really a lot of people doing this.
We can go. Tabletop World makes some they make some beautiful buildings.
There are some. There's some great stuff out there.
That's the bar. We're gonna beat. We're going for it. I'm very excited.
Nate's going through Kickstarter withdrawal.
I need a challenge.
So we actually did. So people haven't really been waiting for us to ask. There's been there's a forum thread that has been 14 pages of requests for cities.
What they want us to build in cities.
Yeah, and that's completely separate from the castles request thread. If we end up doing castle stuff.
Yeah.
And that's not counting all the times it's spilled over into other threads, and it's not counting any of the stuff from Discord.
Well, but the difference is I'm less. I mean, obviously, it's some of this. It's important to. I want to hear kind of the areas of the city or the specific things in cities people are excited about, but more it's a lot of it is more the fundamentals, like what like the stuff that struck me like for Wildlands is people were asking for larger pieces and for verticality and versatility, right? Yeah. So like those were the three huge asks of like, when you went through the stats, it was like those things were just so far higher on the charts than anything else, and it was like, so that was like, it's like we're like, all right, let's that's why there's all, everything is 6 inches long. We had tons of ways of verticality, tons of and then stuff that was like the reusable and versatile in a super way. Like it was all, I don't know, I kept going back to those three things because those were like so that's sort of the stuff that I'm looking for. Obviously all the the fun stuff too. If everybody's like, hey, you got to make garderobes, like privies it is, then all right, I guess we'll make privies. Fine. I'm not even putting that on the survey. I'm not even gonna let you vote for privies.
So I do have a couple things down here that I noted people have been asking for a lot when it comes to cities. A lot of people want to see us stepping away from more like population centers into like outskirts stuff. There's been a lot of requests for farmlands, a lot of requests for more kind of just outskirty stuff.
Yeah, because what we don't have is we have a metropolitan, like we have Hightown.
Yes,
right? We have the Nobles Quarter with beautiful Tudor buildings, really nice stone buildings, whatever. And we have nothing like beyond that. Like it's like high end. There's no peasant shacks. There's no rundown abandoned buildings. There's no ruffians' huts and bandits' hideouts and old barns and farmsteads, and like there's none of that. There's no slums. There's no dockside. There's no murder bar. There's no
Imagine being able, like what could we do with like the concept of like more like cheap materials like thatched roof buildings and stuff like that. Like
we already. How many people are watching?
120.
Holy moly! Okay.
Oh, you're showing something?
Buckle up, boys and ladies.
I didn't know we had something to show. Oh, we're going to the sniper.
This is crazy. We're good. Okay. All right. Stand back.
Oh.
We're gonna. This is.
He's left the room. He's left the room. He's grabbing something. I didn't know we had anything to show. I genuinely didn't. I didn't think we'd been. God, I've got 4 other things on this list. I don't know if we're gonna. Well, technically 9, but.
Make sure.
Whoa! Wait. When did that happen?
Make sure jam their cameras so they can't put pictures on.
Yeah. Let me just get Netflix's like screenshot blocking technology and apply that real quick.
Get that algorithm running.
All right.
Yeah. All right. You rerouted the.
I've never seen. When did this happen? I've never seen this.
We got a little thing working. All right. So this is.
Wow. I'm just gonna go to the full sniper. Hang on. Yeah.
The full sniper.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Who did this? Eli?
No, probably. So this is. So can anybody guess what this is? I mean, obviously it's a thatched roof, right?
It's got a stone chimney.
Yeah. I'll give you another clue. Look at that chimney.
Hag's Hut?
No.
People are saying
It's a topper for the fogger.
Oh, smokestack.
Yeah, so the smoke can come out the chimney. So this is we built this to fit the fogger. So we have a cool little thatched roof. That will fog.
What's the footprint on that?
It's a 4x4, but it's slightly larger. It's going to overhang the building a bunch because you can see on the wood in the base. That's basically a 4x4 down there. There's a lot of overhang because of the footprint on the foggers are clean 4x4, so we need enough room for the sides, whatever. So that's we got some stuff. Yeah. But yeah, that's we were toying with releasing that in Wildlands initially. But I was like, for the fogger, like we needed the killer app for the fogger, and it's like the roof with the smoking chimney was like.
So that was something we'd initially sculpted for Wildlands.
Yeah. It got sculpted in mid Wildlands, and then I just tabled it off. But anyway, so there's a little teaser.
People are very happy about that.
So stuff like that would be nice.
Well, I'm pretty sure you're not going to have any beans to show for the rest of the stuff on this list, but
no, we don't have anything else to show.
Yeah, right.
I see.
Yeah. One of the other top things.
That's the fun thing about the internet, right? We're the internet, right? Are we the internet?
I genuinely had no idea that you had that.
That's the internet. You don't know what's going to happen on the internet, right? We're here. This is on the Anvil. Anything can happen. Sparks are flying. This is just, we're taking the hard metal and the soft metal. We're bending them layer and layer to get the perfect blade. Yeah, surprise attack, dude! It's smoke.
It looks gorgeous. Yeah, man. Yeah, just the effect of that too. Yeah.
So we need to go outside of Hightown, right? Because that's the thing is, most of the time when you're having a combat encounter that involves a building, it is generally not a high-end building, right? It's generally that ramshackle thing, that hag's hut, or that bandit's hideout, or that abandoned barn, or the farmstead that's attacked by orcs. It tends to be on the outskirts. It tends to be run down. It's the abandoned warehouse. It's the whatever. It tends to be not the noble's house. There's exceptions. You go to Strahd's Gothic Manor, or you go to the noble's villa in Waterdeep Dragon Heist, or whatever. It's
usually not random houses. It's either rundown places where shady people hang out, or it's like very specific buildings in like high society.
Yeah. So we've got this very specific buildings kind of. We don't have any of the most of the places that you're going to fight. We don't have good options for that yet. So that's definitely high on my list. And then there's a lot of questions. Where there's so much specificity that you can do, right? And it's like. And that's a lot of it is like, what of the zones that are places to go, like are they more excited about temples versus mages guilds versus docks versus taverns versus crypts versus catacombs versus farmland versus whatever, there's like
what environments, because there's so many environments you can cover. There's graveyards, farmland, like it's
endless, right? Barracks, there's city under siege, there's a raised city, there's non-human cities, right? Like what we haven't even touched, like what's a hobgoblin city look like? What's an elven city look like? What's a dwarven city look like? What is a ruined city or an ancient city look like? Much less Eberron or like, I don't know. There's like, we could do 4 Kickstarters for cities and not run out of stuff to do.
It's genuinely it. Especially like if you consider. So some people have been bringing up the catacombs and they're saying like, those aren't in Dwarvenite. We could genuinely.
Yeah.
I don't know if we do a Kickstarter for that, but we could genuinely do. Whether it's going back to catacombs or just putting the old stuff in Dwarvenite, there's.
If we're gonna do it, we do new. We do new but compatible.
Yeah.
Right. So
maybe bring some of those. Maybe bring some of those sculpts
nice.
in, but.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Or do. I'd rather do new ones that played nice with those, so that if you have those, you then get all this expansion.
Yeah.
For it, and it works with it, and whatever. Or, use those as like the cool showpiece part of the catacombs. Would have new bread and butter, and I don't know. There's a lot of places to go in the world of cities.
Yeah.
But it certainly seems like we need to be out of the city, or under the city, for a bunch of it.
Yeah. So usually when you're in the city yourself, you're just doing role play, you're shopping, you're. Yeah.
Or it's it's a massive attack, or it's a thing, or you're in an alley and you got jumped by ruffians, or you're trailing the guy from the bar to get he's going to the secret smuggler thing or whatever. Whatnot. But I don't know. The thing Stefan and I were kicking around was I was like, we need Wildlands, we had vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry, right? We had forest, we had mountains, and we had swamps, and then of course we had all these sprinkles on it, like we had ruins and we had the boat and we had all these sort of sprinkles, but like we have 3 different flavors. So the thing we're kicking around was doing a sort of city outskirts and beneath the city.
Yeah.
So it's like those seem like the three kind of biomes, as it were, right? 3 areas that then could kind of get fleshed out, and you don't know what's going to be each thing and whatever. And because it seems like you want to have enough variety for folks that. It'd
be great if we could genuinely, if we could have like the variety to like everything in Neverwinter, or everything in, but which is a massive undertaking. These cities are huge, but they're also like incredibly iconic. They're used so often, and being able to cover all those locations would be incredible. Yeah. But.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then also like then trying to also expand. If we're going to cities, it's like, well, do we expand the streets, or do we do different streets? Or do we expand the sewers?
I'm just looking at this list.
People are like going bonkers with. People interested in cities.
Extremely. People were losing their mind over that roof, and people talk.
Surprise.
Cities is one of the things that gets talked about the most. Like it's, regardless of, even before we were teasing it. It's something that people are always talking about.
Well, and also it's, buildings have the potential to show up in a lot of our other, right? All this wildland
it's
stuff,
super easy
you can
to
dump
drop
buildings into there.
Especially
existing ones, like.
Especially we took pains to be able to like put those buildings inside the escarpments and wildlands and all that stuff. And we did that build showing how you could like put a house in the middle of the swamp and all that. Like it's compatible with almost every set.
And then you have, you take the house with a trapdoor, and then it goes into your dungeon, and then you're just running within your dungeon from there, or that goes to the cellar, which then goes to the dungeon, or go like, there's a lot of, it's.
I want a brewery biome. People are saying. Yeah. It's
Ask Nick Unger about the.
Bars are
the beer elemental.
Taverns are one of the most commonly used buildings.
Well, here's the thing. No matter what, there's going to be tavern. Like we're going to
that's mostly done with scatter and that kind of stuff, anyways.
Yeah, it's accessories, and it's wall, floor, accessories.
Man, a lot of this stuff's already been covered. Well.
Yeah. No, there's like. It goes on, it's so, and then there's also crazy like
beer elemental. Wouldn't it just be an elemental?
Hey, amazing! Right. I love that. Yeah, it was a beer elemental. We had to fight. It was what was the premise? It was we were going to the Neumarkt family brewery for. I can't remember all that. It was this awesome LARP module where the big boss was a beer elemental. and it can intoxicate you. It's like
you take him down. Necromancer brings him back. Then you have to fight a Bud White.
amazing.
I'm sorry. All right.
It's amazing.
Yeah. So there's people.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things people are saying, like, we can't make the old CBS stuff obsolete, which I don't think is the plan.
No.
We want it all to be backwards compatible still.
No.
Like we're not going to change it to a 6x6 grid. It's going to be.
Oh yeah. Now we're doing 7x7, dude.
Yeah.
It's like 7x7 is the future. That's like where we're
13x9. Let's go.
Ooh, 16x9. We can do letterbox buildings, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah. No, we're I mean, I think we did a good job. I mean, you tell us. Did we do a good job making everything compatible in Wildlands, right? If you've got Dread Hollow, all this stuff is super friendly with Dread Hollow. If you got those trees, you can swap out the new trees. We had new trees that weren't modular, right? They complement your other trees, but we had new modular trees. We have the new extensions. We have the banks. Worked with the existing banks, but added a whole bunch of new functionality. New mountains. We had expansions for the Aranthor, plus they play nicely. It all plays together. Like, I think we can. I know we can do a thing. We're not going to make any of that stuff obsolete. I mean, it might be obsolete because the new stuff's going to be so much cooler, but like functionally, it won't be obsolete. We will add. We're just going to add new options, new functions, new cool ways to combine stuff. Everything, right? If you just add a new LED element, now you can plug it into your old city builder LED wall. If we had a new magnetic piece, you can put it in the thing. If we have new corner posts, you can mix and match. Like, it doesn't take much. What?
Real quick.
Your face.
Real quick, is there a giveaway tonight? Or else we didn't talk about it at all?
Oh yeah. What are we giving away? We're giving away this new
I don't know.
No.
We're giving away the sculpt that we don't have a master of yet.
We're gonna give away Classic Dungeon Remastered.
Classic Dungeon Remastered. All right.
Yes. And the secret word is
Thatch.
But if they already wrote Thatch, does it like?
No, it's only from the moment that we put it in.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So until we actually put it in, it's not gonna count.
All right. So Thatch.
Thatch. All right.
Thatch.
Starting now, type Thatch. Oh yeah, U.S. only, because of all the
internet
giveaway laws and all that stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, those giveaway when the giveaway police show up at your door and they kick it down, they're like, tell you they shoot first, ask questions later. They do not mess with the giveaway police. They're coming. Giveaway. So Thatch. So yeah. Write Thatch.
Write Thatch. And then while that's happening, let's try and get through the rest of the stuff here.
There's more stuff.
We're losing time. Put one thing off the list. You asked me for. I guess we don't need to go through the whole thing. That's fine.
Which thing?
I made a list of things that people were asking to see.
Oh yeah. What are
so another thing.
Yeah, go.
So another thing was like some more specific kinds of like notable buildings, ways to do like the temple or the manor.
Yep.
Which I think is something we've had in mind.
Yeah.
More roof options.
Yeah, of course.
Which I mean that was one right there.
Yep.
More road options, and somebody brought up the idea of like potentially designing double-sided roads somehow, which I think is an interesting concept to play with.
Yeah. The problem with double-sided, they're just more expensive, but yeah.
And then the big one that you're probably expecting. Rivers is a big thing.
The Mississippi, it's huge.
And then, as far as like building materials go, people say they'd love to see. So there's talk about like kind of shantytown buildings, farmhouse, but also industrial brick buildings. They think it'd be interesting. I don't know. I think it'd be cool to like have this stuff, and I wonder how much of it would be scatter and how much of it would be in designing the bread and butter itself. Like how much of it is just the way that you dress it up after. But I think the nice thing about being where we're at is we've designed so many of these. We designed so many of these shapes, and we're coming from a place of where we have a lot of stuff to pull from already. That as far as like getting stuff to work together.
I have some crazy plans.
Yeah. We talked about a couple things.
Yeah, I get. There's some stuff brewing. I got to. Yeah.
Gothic. Oh, people are wanting like Gothic architecture as well, which is a good point. Not saying a word about water. Thanks for the double arch. That's right. Kite Nerd on the forums at one point. On forums or on Twitch. At some point, Kite Nerd specifically, I remember this. He was like, if we get those double arches, I'll never complain about water tiles again. And then we tried to,
I love it. Hey, he's living up to his word. That's good. Hey, here, you know what? You can complain all you want, but it's not going to change. But it seems like we've got to do river. I don't know. I'm dreaming of 4x4 river tiles, but
the way that the waterfalls came out, it just seems like it'd be a crime to like not expand on it more.
And they're 4x4, or they're 4-inch wide. You know,
that was done for a reason.
Yeah, there's possibilities.
Yeah,
possibilities. What else was on people's long list, short list, the list?
That was like the big things was that we haven't talked about already. But mostly, yeah, people want to see us get like into more specific kinds of buildings and cover outskirts, which is a lot of the stuff that we already. It seems like we're kind of on the same page about a lot of that.
I have a very long Google Doc. Yeah.
You should take a rafting trip. Please do rivers so they won't be mentioned again.
Wait, what?
Rabbit said, "Please do rivers so they won't be mentioned again." Larger gameable interiors. That's another thing is functionality wise.
Yes, gameable interiors.
I think that's the biggest thing, right? Was we accidentally like screwed up the interior in terms of like blocking off squares.
Well,
or I guess it was. We had like
it was a conscious choice by someone whose last name rhymes with Musmorny. We had it was a big fight about the grid in the buildings.
Well, it was basically a choice between caring about the grid on the outside or caring about the grid on the inside. Yeah.
It was about having the grid be consistent with everything else, and I wanted to keep the grid consistent to the outside edge of the piece, the way every other grid on every other piece of Dwarven Forge is. And he wanted to make.
Why would you do that?
Yeah. He wanted to make the grid offset by 1/2 inch, so that thered be more playable squares inside the building. Which is there's logic to it, right? It's not crazy, but it was crazy. Your grid just gets all willy-nilly, because then if you're walking from outside the building to inside the building, you have a 1/2 inch gap and it's fine. But then when you're trying to connect the floors and do things, it's like, you know, it solved one problem and made 3 more. But it made nice clear squares inside buildings, but also we didn't have good, like, basically City Builder system was designed for the exteriors, not interiors. Like, it was all about building an exterior city and not interiors. And that's the biggest weakness with it, is like just the lack of being able to do usable, gameable interior bits.
I think ultimately that's like the question, right? Is like, how can we design it to be? Is there a way to design it where we can make it function for both? Can we come up with a modular way to make it function for both?
We have some pieces already made. And
it's a thing we've been thinking about, because it's a conversation. I remember having that conversation like during Hellscape. We talked about like city.
It's been a problem
just
for since it was invented. It's been a problem. Well, here's the other thing too. Like, there's so many things. Like, if we wanted to do 2x2, you know, if we wanted to do dungeon style walls, floors, and corners, the grid, it's bonkers. Having the existing City Builder grid makes those things. So that's a question for people, right? Do we, for new city stuff, do we just pretend the old grid never existed and do everything on a consistent? Let me actually get a sample. Hey, good thing I have these pieces right here. All right. So this is a bit of floor. So there's 9 squares in there, but they have a 1/2 inch border around the outside, right? So then if you take,
so really you're gaming on a 3x3 instead of a 4x4.
Yeah, it's a 3x3 inside a 4x4. Classic. So
that's the biggest scale gate, honestly.
So then, well, except so here's and it's fine. Like when you're inside the building.
I can go to the full sniper or.
Yeah, go full sniper. Right. So when you're inside the building, fundamentally it doesn't matter. Like it's all gameable squares, assuming that there's walls. Assuming there's walls here, right? It's it's all gameable squares in there. And then if you put two floors together, right? The 2 half inches make a new square, right? So there's a line here, so it's let's see if I can. Right, so this is a square, and that's a square. Whatever. So conceptually, you're kind of building new squares as you go. But then, of course, if you're going from this city street out here, you have these squares. So now you're off by a half an inch this way, and you're off a half an inch on both axes.
So it just doesn't line up.
Yeah. Whatever. And then if you're trying to do if you wanted to do a 2x2 tile with this, how do you approach that? Do you it's so the question is, do we abandon this approach and make the grid a true grid on whatever new stuff we do, right? So like the docks, right? The docks have a grid, right? The line's down the middle, and there's squares broken by there's a square, right? Do we do floors that have a true grid, or do we stay on this crazy grid? Let's put a poll up. Can we put a poll up?
We can. I think the thing let me set that poll up. I think the thing about it is it's one of those things that it's a whole design discussion, right? It's when it comes to designing stuff, like it's going to have ripple effects. Whichever one we choose to do is going to have ripple effects throughout the entire set, more or less. And so it's a pretty hefty question.
It's whether or not we want to change. Do we want to make new ripples, or do we want to continue the old ripples? Right? Because it just ripples into everything. Because then if we're making exterior, it is a. Yeah, it is. This is the ultimate. The grid gate never goes away. And I don't know. It irks me. Right? Or do we just do a regular grid like that on every piece? And then the downside of this is then when you put a wall on is you lose the half a square by the edge.
And I guess the biggest thing is if we do a new grid, can we still make it all work together?
Ish. I mean, I don't know how have people been dealing with. The people have already had to go from A to B, as it is. So
yeah,
it kind of works. I mean, I don't know. It's really it's the thing. So I'm curious what people do. People think we do a true grid, or do we do the offset half inch? The legacy offset grid, or do we go back to a regular grid that every other piece that we make has?
I mean, true.
Not that I'm biased, but
there's.
Except we already have all this.
True grid is really popular.
Well, because it's
enough that they remade it and everything.
That what?
Enough that they remade it, and both versions of it were up for Oscars. True grid.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't see where you were like.
I could have done this. I could have been more smooth with that, but it is what it is. I'm not a professional.
Yeah.
Let's see. I wonder how the results are going so far. It's close so far. It's leaning slightly to stick to the old grid, but it's 59-41 split.
And what's the
I guess the big thing is it really comes down to if we change it, does that mean that CBS, the old CBS, becomes incompatible? Because I think that's the main thing. Is I think no matter what, we got to make sure that the old stuff still works, right? So if we do change it, we still got to find a way to make it compatible. Which is it's gonna take a lot of design discussions.
How do they deal with the half-inch discrepancy currently? because there's it's already out there.
I think the easiest thing, honestly, is you focus either on doing all exterior or all interior at the time, or you just have them go in there and then you just kind of ignore it,
Mm-hmm.
It's not a terrible thing to ignore it. So what bothers me about it being 3x3 inside is, at least if it does turn into combat, you're talking about essentially there's so little room to maneuver if it's a 3x3 grid as opposed to a 4x4.
But it's a 4x4. A 4x4 with walls technically has less room to maneuver because you can't actually fit a mini by that half square.
Right. That's
so
what I mean.
You really only have a 2x2.
Well, what I mean is, if there was a theoretical solution where we could have a 4x4 inside, basically.
Well, then the walls would have to be outside.
Exactly.
So you're losing the space.
Which is why it becomes this big design discussion thing. Is like there's
And that was the big driver.
Yeah.
Right?
Every decision
Stefan was like, well, we get 9 playable squares inside this way.
Yeah.
Versus 4 playable squares.
There's
your way.
There's like a big knock-on effect no matter which way we go, and so it's just.
Although I'd rather have the 4 playable squares with the junk squares around the edge, the junk half squares around the edges, because it gives you a little more wiggle room with the minis, especially when they've got weapons and tails and wings and their 32 millimeter heroic scale, and the ogre has a giant club and all. I don't know. It just gives you a little wiggle room anyway, and generally you're not having a knockdown full party fight in a small 20 foot by 20 foot shack.
So maybe that's the thing.
Like
where...
that's you're gonna build it out a tavern, right? Which is you're gonna build out a thing that has it's an 8x8 main room with a 4x8 kitchen area with a balcony area that's another 4x8. Like then there's gonna be enough room to start roaming around, and I don't know.
Let's roll this giveaway. It's been going for a bit. Yeah, let's roll that giveaway.
Batch.
And then the poll's going to be done soon as well. All right, so let's see. Eldritch Alchemist.
Ooh,
it's a good name.
The most
Eldritch Alchemist. I'm just going to whisper you. I got a chance.
Eldritch Alchemist, you won.
Congratulations. Let's get your email so we can get your stuff sent to you.
Do you like dungeons?
How do you feel about dragons? Oh wow! Now the poll is a even 50-50 split.
Wow. Well, so
it would have been great if it was just like an overwhelming thing, but
dude, if it was like 90-10 or something, like 50-50 is the worst, because then 50% of the people are going to be on.
We can't make people. Means we have to find a way to do both.
Stop.
Stick to the old grid wins 52% over 48, literally 1 vote difference.
Wow.
Size doesn't matter, compatibility does. And that's the main thing, is no matter what we do, it has to be compatible. So
yeah,
I guess that's the thing. It's a lot to think about, and maybe we can use sci-fi as a way to kind of test a lot of those interior building concepts as well. Because we have the freedom there to kind of make something from scratch there. And we can
totally.
And we can play with a lot of the concepts. And theoretically there should be a lot in common between whatever this. If we do sci-fi interiors, at least. If we do exteriors, it's another beast. But if we do sci-fi interiors, we could potentially test out a lot of the stuff that we might want to do for cities.
Maybe.
It's.
I don't know. It depends on
It's a real thinker. That's the thing.
is a black hole, right? Like I don't know. I like.
Well, the issue with sci-fi, we were talking about this earlier. The issue with sci-fi is every big sci-fi property, basically sells itself on having its own very distinct aesthetic. Mm-hmm. So, when you ask somebody what they want out of a sci-fi set, you get such wildly different answers. Whereas, most fantasy pulls from, Tolkien stuff. So there's a common root to most fantasy. With sci-fi, it's cyberpunk is so much different than Star Wars, which is so much different than Star Trek, which is so much different than Warhammer. There's not a lot of crossover. So it's what do you hit? And that's something we got to start thinking about.
And then, that's aesthetic. And then executionally, is it scatter? Is it outdoor scatter?
Yeah.
Is it interior? Interior, a moon base and a battle cruiser have pretty different potential interiors. And aside from, just geometry wise, and then aesthetics is a whole nother thing. And then is it like, yeah, there's like,
there's a lot to do. And it's like, do we just do an expansion of the resin, or do we do something entirely different from scratch?
No.
There's a,
because the problem with the resin is it doesn't, it's not a modern aesthetic of any, it hasn't chosen any of those things, right? It's kind of it's a fun retro sci-fi. I mean, I guess it's kind of 60s Star Trek, if it's anything.
Yeah.
But it's not really, it's
there's a guy on,
it's the Batcave from the Adam West Batman, right? It's like
there's a guy on the subreddit who posts like weekly Star Wars builds for a game that he runs, like using that resin sci-fi and mixing it with our other stuff, and then some other things that either he makes or gets from other companies, and they're all really impressive. But yeah, looking at that, it's definitely
ding it up more for it to be Star Wars. Like it's
there still are places in Star Wars, like if you're talking about like Kamino, like that's a very clean kind of industrial. Well, maybe not industrial, but that's a much more like kind of clean chrome.
I don't count anything that's not in the original trilogy. That's not like.
Isn't Kamino? Wait.
No, that's from Attack of the Clones. Is that the clone planet? That's the second.
Do they go back there?
No, it is not in.
Yeah, I think maybe that was only a prequel thing.
Yes, 100%.
Because I remember it's Qui-Gon that goes there, or is it Obi-Wan?
It's Obi-Wan.
It is Obi-Wan.
Yeah, and he has to battle Jango Fett, and it's like out in the
because it's Attack of the
wind
Clones.
and rain. Yeah,
it's Attack of the Clones. There we go. It's
Wait,
been a while.
Yeah. No, but you're right. That is like I'm thinking classic
there
Star
are some
Wars
environments.
aesthetic. Yeah. But anyway, the problem is like we need to choose a modern aesthetic, whatever it may be.
Bespin and Cloud City were clean in places. That's true.
Oh yeah, yep. Cloud City.
Star Wars really just runs the gamut. Like you're talking about like. I remember when we were initially thinking about Wildlands happening sooner. We were talking about doing a May the 4th build where we recreated Dagobah with the swamp stuff and dropping an X-wing in it and stuff. They really cover the level design, the world design in Star Wars really like runs the gamut.
Staggering. Yeah, it's
amazing. Yeah.
Cloud City is classic.
It's already 9:07.
But then it gets gritty. Like you freeze Han and Carbonite there, and that's like back to gritty. I guess because that's the industrial center part of town.
It went for a different mood with every like location, which is I think one of the stronger things about it. It created so many like iconic locales because they all look so strikingly different. I think. Like I'll never forget about Hoth. I love Hoth. Like it's
like
like
just kick the door off. You're like what? And then the AT-ATs roll out, and you're like, "What is this?"
It's such an I'm not even a Star Wars guy. I don't care about Star Wars that much, but like Hoth as a location and just that entire like set piece to me is wild.
Have you seen those loaders in Marin County or whatever? Like if you're up in the Bay Area and you're driving from San Francisco up to Marin where Lucas Ranch is, there's these giant loaders that pull the big containers off the ships, the containers that like the Dwarven Knight shows up on, and they're AT-ATs. They're straight up. That's where they're just these giant four-legged things that have a cable that goes down and lifts the thing. They straight up look like AT-ATs. It's like you exactly see where they got lifted from.
Those loaders are at the port of Oakland too. Yeah. Galaxy's Edge, guys. Maybe that's something we should talk about. Like what?
That's another thing too. Sci-fi's not. Was sci-fi another? We gotta get here. It's not.
We could spend a whole episode on sci-fi, which we probably will at some point.
Yes.
Because we're gonna need to start brainstorming for that.
Well, because that's the thing is I maybe it's bonkers. I want to. I feel like we're just gonna keep being very open on this channel, and just
The funny thing to me is we're talking about how tired we are after doing like all the Wildlands stuff. And we're just talking about like, oh, what if we do this now?
Yeah.
And
there's no off button in the machine, but
yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're just going to be really open with a lot of the development.
Will sci-fi come before cities? The plan is sci-fi before cities, yeah?
Sci-Fi's gonna be its own. It's not a Kickstarter.
It's not gonna be a Kickstarter.
It'll be a set that'll be like a maybe it'll be a pre-order. But we're what was I saying?
Maybe a Discord thread for what sci-fi aesthetics people would do. Maybe I could start a channel specifically for sci-fi, just so we can be collecting ideas there.
See what people want to do. Hey, we got 1% of our people have completed their orders.
1% already? I'm honestly impressed. I genuinely thought maybe like 5 people would actually. I guess I could go back in and add more stuff later, but yeah.
No new invites went out. Because I think Johanna's offline, but she's supposed to be back.
If he says Battlestar Galactica beats Star Wars, we're going to fight.
Battlestar Galactica.
I was super. So here's the thing. I never watched the show. I read the book in middle school, and I was very into it. There was a book. I didn't realize there was a TV series at all when I was in middle school. I thought it looked cool in the school library, so I got it and I read it and I was obsessed with it. I did a book report on it and made a little diorama. I was super into that book.
That's awesome.
I thought Starbuck was the coolest guy.
Yeah.
Like,
dude, because he was. Yeah.
Oh, let's just do that aesthetic. Let's just make Cylons. Can we just do a minis Kickstarter entirely about Cylons?
It's just one Cylon.
It's just one Cylon, but he's wounded in a bunch of different ways.
It's amazing. Well, on that note, let's we did our giveaway. We did the giveaway. Poll. We did everything. We talked about a bunch of stuff. So we'll be back.
We went over time today, but
we'll be back next week. We don't know what are we doing next week.
We didn't talk about like the future of this channel either.
Oh yeah, that's what I said. I think I'm just going to continue. Like we're just going to continue to be really kind of open about what we're thinking about, what we're working on, and with the caveat that it's going to change. Like I don't know.
I asked you. I was like, when do you think we want to start doing like KS8? Like start talking about KS8, and you're just
can't call it KS8.
Or when do you think we want to start talking about the next C2?
That's our secret code word. That's so terrible that we want to change it because
we have a working title. Really bad. We're trying to move
because I want to hate it, and I do.
We're trying to move to names that are more descriptive because the more Kickstarters we do, the more confusing it is to new people to say like KS8, KS3,
KS4. They don't know.
So we're trying to use names like Wildlands, where it gives you an idea of what's there.
And we refer to Hellscape as Hellscape. We don't refer to it as KS6.6.
Cavern's Deep is great as Cavern's Deep.
Call it as Cavern's Deep. So we're trying to do names that we can use as a thing so people don't get the what? Crouching Falcon?
We're gonna call it Blue Harvest, I think. I love Blue. Let's just use Blue Harvest for the sci-fi set. Let's just use that as the internal. Yeah,
sounds good to me. Sold. Ship it. So anyways, I think we're just going to be, I don't know, we're just going to keep showing off stuff and talking about stuff. We'll see where it goes. We'll keep you guys in the loop and part of the process, and it just with the caveat of things may change. So
that's another thing. Like this
is creative. It's like that's the double-edged sword of seeing behind the curtain is sometimes the things that you love or excited about are going to die or are going to change or are going to whatever. And so by the time it actually gets out on stage, it might be different than what initially you'd seen. But
this is ostensibly like an advertising platform kind of for our stuff, but at the same time, this is less like ads and it's more like this is the process, and the process involves a lot of iteration and a lot of killing babies.
I think it's the opposite of an ad because it's the gritty. Like we're just showing like
it's true. We're showing you all the worst sides of it usually.
Yeah. And the stuff that doesn't work and the problems we're having and the whatever.
Remember when the waterfalls were a bunch of 1x1 blocks?
Dude, we try every you try every option. But it's more just a portal into our brain.
Cities to his dwellings because D is one more than C. Says Froon. When will the next batch of Pledge Manager invites go out? They should be rolling out
very soon.
Overnight,
this hour. Another batch is supposed to go out. I think at 9:00 our time. So
I was worried we weren't gonna have enough to fill the show tonight, but we've gone over and we didn't even hit half the things we'd planned. So
we have. There's 501 people that have not clicked that have gotten an invite email but haven't clicked on it.
I wonder how many Europeans are just
141 people have clicked it but haven't completed it, and 39 people have completed it.
Yeah.
So, cool. They'll keep kicking out overnight. A big batch very soon. So hang in there. Thank you for being patient. I know it's really hard to wait, but we told people beforehand what was going to be in there. We started putting some other, and now I feel like it almost made it worse because then everybody's like, well, now
people
I
are chomping at the bit. It's a good problem to have. I do just it would be great if we could have had it all rolled out by now. But
apparently the correct phrase is champing at the bit, which I
champing at the bit.
Yeah, which I don't know. I was always a chomping at the bit.
Sounds a lot more British.
I looked it up, and it's like
it sounds really British.
He's chapping at the bit, isn't he? That Finley Shods is always chapping at the bit.
I think because it sounds like the chapped version of chomp.
Yeah, chapped chomp. I think it was like racehorse. Like
speaking of Finley,
yeah,
he says Cities 2 Eclectic Bungalow would be a good.
Well, the problem is there's that whole Boogaloo movement, so we can't it's tainted the whole.
Yeah, that's fair. God, how do you ruin Boogaloo for people?
I don't know. If you're full of hate, that's how. Yeah, we're full of love here. And on that, we're gonna love to see you next week. And fill out your pledge manager when you get it. Thanks for being patient. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for all the good ideas. And we'll see you next week.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Woo.